See if I can. When I breeze into that city, people gonna stoop and bow.
All right. Cool. All right. So I can hear me. Can you hear you?
I can hear me, yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 22 of Conservatish. Your last name is spelled so strange. So it's Ken...
Wyrsch. Wyrsch in America.
Wyrsch.
If you go to the motherland of Germany, it's Wyrsch.
Ah,
I just recently,
Wyrsch.
dude, I went 37 years not having a fucking clue how my shit. Until one of my friends who's from Germany, he goes, "Oh, it's a Wyrsch." I thought he was just making fun of my name. He was
Right.
actually pronouncing that shit right.
Wyrsch.
Yeah. Wyrsch, yeah.
What does it mean? Is it some sort of sausage?
I don't have a fucking clue. I didn't really care.
Right.
Yeah.
I know my last name is Feliciano. It means some sort of... It has something to do with happiness. And Peter, the Latin root word is petria, so I'm rock happiness.
Oh, right.
Or at least that's what I
you
tell
rock
the
the
girls
happiness.
anyway. Right.
Right on.
So thank you very much for coming on. It's incredible honor just to have any serviceman, and especially a famous one at that. But no, the fact that you were referred to me by Mike the Southerner from a few episodes ago.
Was he? Did he use his name?
He just went by Mike.
Okay, it was just Mike. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, he's got a high profile job, you know what I mean? So I
Right.
can understand that shit.
Right. So I had to cut out his last name a couple of times, and some of the things I've only had to cut out a couple of times where I said something untoward. Not
Yeah.
untoward, because I mean I say all manner of filth on this show,
Yeah.
but untoward like this would implicate someone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, I'll cut that out because
Right.
I don't want to, get
We might have a conversation or two once the mic's cut off.
right.
Be like, yo, hey, remember? Nuh-uh.
No, absolutely.
My grandma's still
There was
alive,
another,
bro.
right? Exactly. There was one more person who said, like later on, it wasn't because it implicated anybody, but she texted me. She's like, "Hey, can you cut out that part about XYZ that I said?" And I'm like, "Yeah, totally."
Yeah.
Because this isn't. I'm not a gotcha. I'm not a fucking journalist. Number one. Number two, I'm just some dude with a microphone or a couple of microphones and a laptop.
Right.
And also, I want you guys to feel comfortable,
Right.
and to, the goal is not like to get some sort of serious interview. The goal isn't to have some goofy one. The goal is just to have a good conversation.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? So you're a serviceman.
I was, yeah. Park
Okay.
service, yeah.
Army specialist?
Army. Well, so the news does what it did and just kind of used whatever words they thought was cool.
But I thought the media doesn't lie.
Right?
I thought it should be
Dude,
respected.
they fucking bent the story over and jizzed all over the back of it and just
Right.
made whatever design. It was so bad. Okay, first of all, I wasn't there with the Army. I was there. It was a volunteer effort that
Okay.
I went over to help support the Kurds, the northern Iraqis,
Okay.
with the ISIS problem.
Okay.
And so I was freelance. I was working for the job that I work for now.
Okay.
And they gave me enough time. I love that company, but they gave me enough time to go and do what I felt needed to be done. And in that time,
So you served soup. That's what it is.
yeah, I
right?
served soup. Right, that's what they meant by service members, right?
Right.
So right. I had to tell. I got pulled over by the FBI on the way back in, and they're like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just hung out, man. Filled sandbags."
Right.
Right. They just kind of made a story. So specialist is a rank, man. It's not. It's not a job in the military.
Really?
When I was
Okay.
in the military, I was airborne infantry.
Airborne infantry.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But
was
that
the
wasn't
82nd
during
Airborne.
this
Right. This
last-
time I went there and I was driven from frontline to frontline, kind of given my opportunity to meet some generals and see what it was that they were doing on their front.
Okay.
And I found a place in northern Iraq by Kirkuk, and I was one of between a rotating group of 9 to 12 Westerners, people from all over the world that went out and did the same thing I did. So I wasn't part of any military unit. And then they talked about my dog being some military. Fuck that. Hell no. That dog never left the wire, and we would not let him leave the wire. We met him when he was a little puppy.
What's the wire?
The wire is basically your little
Safe
compound.
zone.
Yeah,
Okay,
your little
okay.
compound where it has the gates and walls and everything else. But once we drive off the base, he'd follow us, and we get to the gate, and they let us out. The dog would try to follow us, and the Hodge would stop him.
Right.
And throw him back on the base or whatever. So he was, he was.
So he wasn't a bomb sniffing dog.
Oh man, no, he was just some random dog that we took a liking to and got him vaccinated and did all that shit. And
even in Iraq, you got him vaccinated.
Well, he got some shots. They did it before I was there, but from what I understand, there's no like vets. They just kind of like bring him into some, garage. Where they probably sell power tools next to
Google,
it.
like,
yeah.
Can we get not Chantix? What the fuck? What's the anti-smoker? Can we get the one with the drops with the fleas?
Yeah, well, we were attached to the Iraqis, so the Iraqis were able to do everything for us. They were really cool, man.
Oh, okay.
And just to be clear, if I called the Kurds Iraqis, they'd be pretty pissed. So,
oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
they that whole Saddam era thing kind of. Yeah. So, anyways, when I got there, he had already had his shots, but I was responsible for getting him to a main city outside of Kirkuk. I believe it was Salmanaya at the time. And
before
I left.
Okay.
To get him quarantined for a month before he came back to America. So there was way more that had to be done.
Wow.
But we stabilized him because, dude, dogs do not last over there. If they don't get shot or ran over, they're, the disease and crap that's in everything. Like they have these monsoons and it brings up all the lack of plumbing. Mm-hmm. Shit and piss to the front, and then the dogs drink the water.
Oh my god!
And these things, they die horrible deaths, man, just oozing out of their every orifice of their body.
So how does the wire clean the water for you guys?
Oh, for us, okay. So, we just had an area that we were allowed to drink water out of, and it was definitely safe. I didn't have any issues when I was over there. Okay. But the groundwater, it brings up all the piped down piss and shit.
And if the dog isn't domesticated, then
right,
okay.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, you were working with this dog. How long did you get to know this dog while it was over there?
So when I got to the base, the dog had already been picked up by the British guys that were there, and his name is Oliver. Very British, right?
Of course.
And the day I got there, the day that the British guy who claimed him left.
Okay.
Right. And so, as a tribe, we all kind of raised the dog and had him. He was ours, Right. And so, I was there for about 3 months, and then we had to leave. Things got a little shady over there. They were taking us doing things that we shouldn't have been doing.
Now, the Kurds who you were working with?
Yeah, because there's a lot of history there with that group. Kurds have been fighting everybody for a long time. Okay. But we went there to help them fight ISIS, and that was it. The rest of that stuff, the Sunni Shia bull crap,
right?
None of my business, man.
Right.
It really is not.
Does America make it any of our business when it comes to that? Sometimes
to Sunni and Shia?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, do accidents happen? I don't know. I'm not gonna say yes or no, but
sure.
Shit does happen. Now, when we went to Iraq for the initial invasion, and when it turned into the guerrilla bullshit that it turned into, we were fucking icing Sunni, Shia, whoever the hell had a gun pointed in our direction.
Correct.
Right. But
that wasn't for the Kurds. That was at that point. It was for
at that point. At no point was it for the Kurds. I mean, when we went over there in the Gulf War, we knew that Saddam was gassing the Kurds, so the Kurds loved us going over there and putting foot up his ass. And then this last time around 2003, the initial invasion, we toppled the regime. The Kurds loved us even more. Shit, man! If you go to Kurdistan right now, the northern part of Iraq, they have more pride in America than I imagine it would be the equivalent
of Berkeley.
Yeah, exactly, right? But it'd be like going to some small town in Texas, dude. Like all the trucks and cars, and they have like American flag bumper stickers and seat covers. I mean, they're huge American fans, man. They're very accepting and welcoming of us. But then you go outside of that area, the Shia not a fan of us at all.
Okay.
And
is that more south?
So the Shia and Sunni, they live right up against each other.
Okay.
I mean, it really is kind of interesting to see. Mm-hmm. And if the Kurds decided to leave us in the middle of one of the cities outside of their little base, I don't know. Without guns, we wouldn't last very long.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyone would just love a dollar sign on their head.
Okay, so those are three different. Obviously, the Kurds, is that more of a nationality? Like, is that a bloodline or is that a religious line?
So it's called Kurdistan, and it takes up, if you look on the map, I don't want to bore your listeners, but
no.
There's four corners. It's Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Iraq. And there is Kurdistan taking up all of it, but Kurdistan is not recognized by any of the other countries. As a matter of fact, the countries, you hear about it in the news, Turkey attacking Kurds, and then also helping ISIS fight the Kurds because the Kurds are constantly fighting Turkish soldiers.
Right.
Iran, they have a tighter grip on things, but there's still Kurds in Iran. Iraq, same thing. But with the toppling of the government, we actually gave the Sunnis, the Shias, and the Kurds a fighting chance. Problem is, the Kurds are not recognized by the Iraqi government, so they're not getting their fair share. And once there's so much politics, man.
Right.
Yeah, it was 3 months of learning everything that happened, But
Right.
then even then, like after there was like a ceasefire with not even a ceasefire with ISIS, but once ISIS was toppled, the Kurds were the only people that actually didn't drop their weapons and uniforms and ran away. So ISIS pushed until they got to the Kurdish region, and if it weren't for the Kurds, fucking ISIS would have kept toppling Iraq. So they stopped at the Kurds.
Wow.
And so the Kurds, they were the only one who had enough pride in their country that, again, isn't recognized.
Right.
So the Kurds used that time to fight forward. So ISIS stopped, realized you can't fuck with the Kurds. The Kurds fucking pushed forward, and then they kept pushing their line closer into mainland Iraq.
Wow.
So they actually took up more land, and they ended up in Kirkuk and further forward. Dus Kamatu, I don't even know how to pronounce the motherfuckers, but they pushed forward, and then during that time they took up space in Iraq.
Right.
Well, then once the government got involved. Because
The American government?
yeah, right.
Okay.
Well, see, Obama decided to pull people out of Iraq and that at that time, and then when they pulled out, ISIS poured in out of Syria and decided to use that time without America there to,
So effectively, you're saying ISIS stopped fighting because they were fucking with the Kurds, and then the Kurds were stopping them.
ISIS had taken all of Iraq until they got to Kurdistan.
Wow.
And then they got to Kurdistan. Kurdistan said, fuck you, and then fought back.
Right.
So pushed them back. They actually took more territory away from ISIS.
But then Obama pulled us.
Oh, no, Obama pulled us before they pulled. So there was no ISIS in Iraq.
Okay.
They pulled out the troops in Iraq, and they used that time. ISIS used that time to pour out of Syria down into Iraq. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, against General's orders, General said, dude, do not pull people out of Iraq. And I think Obama kind of just put a general in that would say, yes, sure, pull them out. And that was when ISIS took over Iraq. It was right then and there. I mean, there's no misinterpreting the whole thing, man.
Now at that point, were you a part of the Airborne Infantry? Or
Nope.
No.
No. I had been out for years, man. I got out in 2004.
Okay, when did you do? So you were a part of the initial invasion?
No,
or?
I was
Okay.
I joined a month after 9/11. So September 11th happened. I was in October.
Wow.
So a month later.
Now, what was the initial? I mean, because you're a San Francisco boy.
I'm a suburb, man. I'm right outside, San Mateo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there doesn't, from my experience anyway, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of
Not popular
military
decision.
people, right? Not to say that all people in the
No,
Bay
it was
Area hate
cool.
America, but it's just not a thing. It's certainly not as much of a thing as like Tennessee or Texas. I mean, Texas, like if you're not from, everybody has somebody in their family
Right.
who's in the military. So what was it something when you were a kid that you thought like, oh, I might want to do that?
Well, when I was a kid, I mean, it was only G.I. Joe. I mean, you know what I mean? I've always loved guns. I always loved knives. I always liked playing war. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then, as you grow up in this area, it becomes, I'm not even going to say as a kid that the military seems like a group of, I don't know, they're not spoken of highly. It's a last option. It's like it's a step above prison. You know what I mean? You just go. It's where people from the middle of nowhere go. And it was kind of spoken. Even though my grandpa served, but they were all drafted. My dad's brother was in Vietnam. My dad was younger, and he was like a reserve or something like. But it was more like then it was like for job growth. My dad was from a bad area, so he didn't have any other
this will
option.
get you if your family doesn't have money for college. This will pay for your college.
Exactly.
Right.
And he was trying to learn a trade, so that's why he went in.
Right.
But very few people were here, especially wanted to join something that was combat arms, especially
Sure.
something like jumping out of planes and shooting shit.
Right.
So, so I'd always liked the idea of it, but again, you grow and you learn and you listen and you're taught that is,
Right.
it's a last option kind of thing. And it was
But
always
not by
in my
your
head.
family necessarily.
Not really, but even then, they never spoke highly of it.
Okay.
It's like you don't want to do that. You want to
Right,
go to
right.
college and you
Right.
want to, get a degree and shit.
Right.
And then, as I got older and started realizing, okay, fine, I guess. But then as your mind starts to grow outside of the fence that you've built around it or you've had built around it, you start seeing, you start tapping into your own self, your own true self. And at
Right.
that point in time, I realized that, going and doing these things that I pretended to do as a child. You know what I mean? Like, it's still in me. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a benefit to it.
there is. And then on top of that too is like, I don't come from, a lot of money, and I was going to community college, and I was like, what happens when I, decide to go to a 4-year? My parents would have sold the house to put me through a 4-year had I gotten in. Right?
Sure. Mostly, obviously, for their own, like, they want to take care of you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
stuff.
They're my
Right.
parents. They decided to have me, and they're
Right.
responsible, man.
Right.
They were great parents. They are great parents.
Right.
But then I started kind of looking at the military behind my parents' backs. And my dad, he's an iron fist type motherfucker. So like every time I would fuck up or slept in, shit, dude, my dad was waking me up. My dad was waking me up at 7:00 in the morning when I was in grammar school.
Okay.
During the summertime, being like, "There's no summer vacation when you're an adult." I'm like,
Right.
I'm 7.
Right.
And so that's just kind of how I was raised. But then his like, if you don't, his go to is if you don't like it, you could join the service.
Okay.
And then one day he got home. I guess I'd slept in to like 9:00 in the morning on a Saturday or something.
Right.
He's like, "You don't like it, you join the service." And I had already started looking. I'm like, funny thing about that is I'm probably going to.
Uh-oh. What was his first reaction when you first told him?
As you can imagine, is just fucking blank slate. Just
Well, he had
Good.
okay. So, but at that point, he had already obviously that's a little military. I know. I guess he was in reserves, but
Yeah.
like that, waking up at 7, that structure of stuff, like
Yeah.
that's kind of a military thing to do.
Right. Well, he didn't have a father growing up, so his first father figure was the military. You know what I mean? He still went through whatever basic he went through, and then had whatever reserve training he had. I don't know.
Right.
But he remembered a lot from it.
Right.
And on top of that too, the fire department is a very paramilitary organization. Pressed uniform, shaved face.
Right.
Sir, for the most part.
Right.
It's definitely not as structured as the military, but that's what he had to go on. And I would have been a knucklehead had he not stepped in like that. I needed it, I guess. I didn't
Right.
like it when I was a
Right.
kid, but hindsight.
I think there's especially like what you said, growing up, like I did that same thing. I had 3 brothers, and all of us were playing Mad Max, even though we didn't. I mean, I was too, I didn't know what Mad Max was, but I was like, okay, give me a fake gun, I'll go roll around in the bush and shoot you, and then you die, and then I go like that's just for me anyway. Some people disagree that it's some social construct. I think
Fuck no, dude,
most of the time, like I grew up, like I think most of the time, boys like boy shit and girls like girl shit. Most of the time, there's not always, but sometimes I'll see that meme. There was one meme like, be courageous, be in a room full of princesses, be a Batgirl, or something.
But why?
Like
you feel
why?
like being
Right.
a fucking princess, bitch, be a princess. Right? As a matter of fact, if you want to be a princess and you decide to go against a social quote unquote social construct,
Right.
then you're an idiot. It's
What?
like, I really, really want water, but everyone's drinking water. I'm going to drink coffee.
Right.
Meanwhile, your body's yelling for fucking water, and now you're
Right.
shitting in the bathroom and you need water. You're an idiot.
Right.
Do what
That's
the fuck you want to
exactly-
do, even if everyone's doing it. How about that?
That's exactly
You know what I
right.
mean? And it felt natural to me to want to play war. I didn't want to. As a matter of fact, shit, I was playing war well past when my friends decided that they were going to go chase girls. It didn't feel natural to me. I wasn't chasing girls. I thought girls were friends. You know what I mean?
Right,
I was a
right,
late
right.
bloomer.
Right.
Once girls became a thing, I started chasing them. When I felt it felt right, dude. I didn't have my first fucking kiss until I was like a sophomore in high school.
Nice.
You know what I mean? I didn't lose my virginity until well later in life.
Right.
But the thing was, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel. Everyone else was doing it. You're not
Sure.
cool if you don't. I
Right.
just didn't feel right. You know what I mean?
But there was something about, obviously, so I think that natural man shit that comes out when you're a kid, right? But then also the structure. That's why it's so important for dudes to have that structure, because we're wild animals, and then you need something to like curb that wild animal, so we're not just like running into 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's both things. I feel like and I feel like maybe your dad, even though he didn't have a father figure growing up,
Right.
that's where that army stuff came in. That's where that that structure of the fire community kind of helped him and curbed him into that. That's such a great thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Right. So how early? You said you were 17 when you started looking at the.
No. I went out of high school. I went to college
Okay.
for 2 years, and I had a couple units left before I could transfer to a 4-year. So I started that next school year with a few units, working a couple jobs, and I was still visiting the military a couple months before 9/11.
Okay.
And then 9/11 happened, and I left. I had school that day. I went to school that day, and I just couldn't think of anything else. And so I
Right.
left, and I went to the Army. At that point, I had visited all 4 branches. You know, I'd done a lot of research, and I realized I want to jump out of a plane. I want to shoot shit. And the Marines couldn't offer that.
Right.
Without giving me some sort of like force recon contract, which has been in like 6 years.
What is
recon? It's like their version of special forces.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Navy SEALs, they're folks. You know, they jump out of planes and shoot shit. They're your SEALs, right?
Right.
But that was another one, 6 years. And if you wash out at any point during that training, which is long, they could take you and put you, you know, anywhere in the Navy they want with that 6 years still attached to you. I was like, man.
Oh,
no,
wow.
I'm
So
good.
even if you don't make it through basic training.
Yeah, you still have that 6 years. You still have that 6 years contract, right? So then you make, God knows, I hope you should make it through boot camp of fucking the Navy. But once you get through the basic or the boot camp in Navy, then you go to your like special. From what I understand, you go to your school and you basically go to buds and everything else that you have to go through to become a SEAL.
Okay.
And at any point you wash out or ring that bell, as they say.
Right.
You still have that 6 year contract attached to you, but you're not a SEAL now. You're just going to be whatever the fuck they feel like, whatever classification they feel like putting you in. So, dude, you could end up engine room maintenance or some shit. Right. You know what I mean? So they could put you anywhere they want, and you got to do that for 6 years. And so I was like, no.
Already, that's such a.
Yeah.
How does your gut live with that? I'm not disparaging anybody who's rung that bell.
It's a hell of a roll of the dice. And
how do you?
I had nothing but confidence in my ability to pass something. But even then, 6 years is a long time, especially when I don't know if I want to do. I don't know if I'm gonna like the military in general.
Right. You were only like 20.
I was 20 years old.
Yeah. I mean, fucking. I'm 30. I'm 32. I don't know if I wanted to. I don't even know if I like this podcast. Right. But like, yeah. That's. But how do you have you talked with men or women who have rung the bell?
No, I don't think so. But
I just want to know how. I want to talk with someone who
greater
how
majority
do you live with that?
Oh well, I think it's the greater majority of people that go into that class ring that bell. So if you go in with 10 people to go do something and 9 people fail or 8 people fail, you're not gonna feel that bad about it. Now, if 9 people make it and 1 person fails, you're probably not gonna do too well about it. But so many people ringing that bell, man. It's just
I see.
You're kind of expected to, and that's why they get such a level of respect from the military community, because most people can't do it. So it's not that there's a disrespect for the people that don't make it. It's a heavy respect for the people that do, right? But the Army offered 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many year contract I wanted with the job I wanted. Plus, they could offer me a position in they could offer me a duty station. So I got to pick my duty station. I got to choose what unit I wanted to be a part of, and I wanted to be in the 82nd Airborne. So
now, what differentiated the 82nd from others?
Well, the other airborne unit is in Alaska, and fuck that
Nobody
shit,
likes Alaska.
Right?
Alaskans don't like Alaska.
Yeah.
Okay. Bears like Alaska, but that's
I have a couple friends that actually went to that airborne unit first or second and loved it.
Okay.
And at the time, actually now there's an airborne unit in Hawaii, and I know had I joined now, I guess that's what I would have done. You know what I mean? But North Carolina is great, man. The people, the 82nd Airborne attracts a certain type of soldier, man, and it was a good group of guys. I'm still friends with the majority of them. Okay. It's pretty great.
Now, already it's a huge culture shock, probably going from. I mean, literally, South Bay or San Mateo area.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you have to be a certain type of person. All of a sudden, you're dropped into North Carolina. Yeah. Much less now you're really specifically in a group full of people from not just everywhere, but people who are from everywhere and interested in, like, enjoying and appreciating and working and serving your country.
Right.
So, what was that like?
It was surreal for sure, because much like how the Bay Area, or my community viewed the military as, like, I'm not gonna say subhuman, but a last option. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When it's put in your head that this is a last option, you start thinking that the people that join are last optionaires. Like that's what they're there to do because they have no other options. But the thing is also in the Bay Area, like growing up here in California, California is shit. Every musician, is rapping about it. Every band is yelling about it, and Hollywood's talking about it. It's just California is the shit. So it was the first time leaving California, so I went and was like, I'm a Californian. But you go and meet people from all walks of life, and you realize just how cool and how smart people are from the fucking sticks.
Now ain't that some shit too? Because I literally, in listening to like Jocko Willink, you know who?
Yeah.
Like I listen to that podcast. I'm like, this motherfucker's like reading, and you would look at him, and the stereotype from my Bay Area brain would say like, oh, meathead or da da da. Like he's like reading it. Like every week he has a podcast about a book, and I'm like, fuck, I've read like maybe 7, and now I'm like, shit. So like the smarts is another thing too. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, well, it's a different kind of smarts too. Remember, one of my best friends, he's still one of my best friends to this day, Wooly, right? So we're in the woods, man. Always in the woods. And that's what we're doing the majority of our training. We don't have fucking woods around here. I just, I think there was the woods in Stand By Me or something. Like I've seen the woods on television. Tahoe was our woods, but even then, that's so commercialized.
Yeah, you're not going to Hillsborough.
Yeah, right. So I go, when anytime you do anything in the military, it's like buddy system. You're always grabbing your ranger buddy or whatever, and you go out into the woods, take a piss or shit. And so we went out to go to the bathroom, and as for all the drill sergeants knew we were taking a shit, and it'd been raining, and there was a crevasse, right, a big giant mud pit.
Oh God!
But it was kind of like. It looked like a mini Grand Canyon, so from wall to wall mud, and I'm taking a piss, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Wooly just trudging through the mud at full fucking speed.
Jesus.
And the freaking the leaves crashing, and I turn over, and he runs, and he's fucking cliffhanger in the air, jumps from one side of the cliff into the other side of the cliff, didn't clear the cliff, smacks into the side of the freaking, it's mud. And then he went rolling down the crevasse, laughing his fucking ass off. He's like, try it. He's covered in mud.
And you're pissing into the crevasse.
Like, no, fuck no. Hell no, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And meanwhile, he's climbing up, covered in mud, laughing his ass off, goes back and runs and does it again. And now he's trying to clear it to the other side, but still not even close. It's a big gap. Then I'm like, okay, fine. I did it. I'll be damned. It was fun as fuck. So the thing is these country kids, they were forced to have different kinds of fun than us. So they may have the same. As a matter of fact, our school system in California is number 44 in the whole 50. Yeah. So technically, chances are.
I think if we just 12%, pay more taxes, obviously it'll be fucking fair. Sorry, continue.
Right? Yeah, let's put another freaking liberal in. Let's see if that improves our number.
Right.
It's like touching the cheese that's attached to the electricity.
Right. Over and over.
Ouch. How many more years are we gonna be touching that electrical cheese? Anyways, but even then, like just the kind of fun that they had, man, I had so much fun doing that, especially considering I'd never done it before. I had another friend walk out on ice. I'm just thinking like. No, don't do that. And like just how confident he was walking out on a frozen pond.
Right.
Like I've seen this in movies too, dude. You fall in, and you die, and then I'm like sitting here watching you. Like this, he's laughing his ass off. So I went out there and walked out with him, and then it started cracking around us. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. But I'm saying like the shit that they're used to. You know what I mean? Like, if you put them in a big city, they would fucking freeze. It's as intimidating to them as the open nature to me.
Right.
But these guys are in their element there.
Right.
So
did you catch any shit for being Californian?
Oh, I mean, I was from the San Francisco Bay Area, so I was a faggot. Right? That's how it goes? Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
it's like,
obviously,
but I'm not.
Was it the dozens type of shit? It wasn't like serious shit. It was just like, this is the way we're going to fuck with it. It's just dudes being dudes at each other. That's all.
Anything. I don't give a fuck. What about you? You have a big nose? Bye. Shit. Right. I saw a dude with a big old fucking dick get made fun of for having a big old dick. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just if there was something about you that they could point out, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. That's natural shit. That's
men being men, dude.
Yes.
And I was in the airborne infantry. There's no women. There are now, I guess. They're allowed to do it.
Right.
But there was no women allowed to be in the infantry when I was in. So it was very much quote unquote barbaric men. You know, men that wanted to fight, men that want to jump out of planes.
Right.
So you really do attract a different kind of guy.
Right.
You know,
there's a couple people.
The guy next door that's programming your computer.
Right. I'm just before we continue on, I just want to say hi to all the females whose pussies are getting wet by us talking about this right now. I can think of one in particular who's like barbaric. Ooh. Anyway, so you're saying shit. Obviously, you haven't been in touch with the military enough to know what it's like now that there's females as close.
I had friends that were 4 years short of retirement get out. But even then, the women hadn't even made it in yet. It was you know what it was? It was the culture that the military had merged into that was accepting of the idea of putting women into combat arms with men. It wasn't so much the idea of putting women into combat arms with men. It was the military that has become that type of military that would be accepting and open to that idea. And accepting and open sound like great words, but when you attach it to the wrong element, you got a fucking problem. You know what I mean? We've been in war for 16 to 18, 16 years now?
Yeah.
Since 2001. Right. So we have bred a warrior culture. Right. And we've learned to fight wars. We've learned the best ways to do things. I mean, we've rewritten books of how we fight wars now because of all the experience we have now with modern warfare. Right. At no point, I don't think, would any of these people that were in for 16, 18 years be like, a woman infantryman would be a vital resource to have attached to an infantry platoon. Now, look, there were women intel officers, people that were women that would be attached to, platoons, because some women will only talk to women, and it's respectful to show a woman to a woman. Having some dude, burly, bearded man from America walking in and talking to a woman is disrespectful in some of these countries. So
I see. So if you're going in trying to find
so they
intel,
would find those resources, but they were women intel, like people that were trying to speak to these women, not fucking shooters. And the thing is look, a woman can shoot a rifle or a weapon just as well as a man can, or better. I don't know. Majority of them can't carry the weight. That's just fucking nature. Sorry, dude. That's just what it is. Right. Statistically speaking. And I mean, if we look at statistics, I mean, even just the San Francisco Fire Department, they've had to lower standards to let a certain, and that's fine. And whatever
is
works.
Is it though? Is it fine?
No, it's not fucking fine at all. It's really not. It's like, hey, this bitch can't swing an axe. What do we do with her? Put her behind the freaking wheel. But you should be able to be behind the wheel. You should be able to freaking swing an axe. You should be able to climb a ladder. You should be able to freaking put a 230-pound dead weight man on your back and climb out the 8th floor of a fucking building. If you cannot, you should not be a fucking firefighter.
If I'm gonna die because someone needs to be accepted into the like, I don't want to. That's not.
This is common sense, man. But wait, we got to worry about feelings. I feel like this is common sense. It's like, hey, dude, that fire over there is hot. We should not touch it. Right. Like, why would we have a podcast about that shit? Right. But then here we are. Right. This is what it's become. A podcast about not touching hot fire.
Well, here's the thing. I feel really hopeful about, because I know a lot of mostly, I had another person, I've had 2 people in the last 2 days, or a day or two, message me, love the podcast. I don't agree with everything that people say on the podcast or you, but that's kind of the point,
life, dude.
Right? And so I feel actually very hopeful, because those were both women, mostly liberal women, and I'm like, okay, even a woman, a mostly liberal woman who spent kind of time in either Washington or in the Bay Area, kind of understands is able to at least listen to these conversations, listen to hard truths, listen to at least, and I think most of them get it. I think most women, even in the Bay Area, understand, wait a second, I don't want to fucking carry a dude out of a burning building. Wait a second, I don't want to roll around in mud and shoot at people and get shot at. You know what I mean?
Hey, there's women out there that are great being dirty, great in mud. You know what I mean? There are women that can put that 85 pounds and go 20-something miles. That's fine. Right. But the thing is it's these fucking... how to say it, these empowered bitches that are like, I could do anything a man can do, even though it's their pride that's talking and not their common sense.
It's not their
body. Mm-hmm. And the thing is it's going to come a time, and this happens in every profession. It's happened in the police department, fire department, in every state and city job. It doesn't need to go to the federal level, but there's going to be enough women that try, can't do it, and then they have to lower the standards. They already did it for those 2 girls that passed Ranger School. They lowered, I shit you not, the cadre has admitted to it. They had to drop standards to pass these girls because Obama had already had a seat at the Ranger graduation. So they've already started doing it. And it's only a matter of time before someone that doesn't know shit about being in the military decides to make a decision for the military and put people in where they shouldn't be because standards were not cutting it, or they weren't cutting it for the standards. This is just the way it's always gone, man, and it sucks. And here's the thing: is I was raised better than to call all women bitches, but at the same time, is if your actions are inconvenient to me and you're a female, I'm coming with the bitch. Right. But these females that join the military, great. The females that can't hack it, great. It's not the hardest job in the world, but the thing is this too, and this is something that people need to fucking understand.
Here, there's mic a little closer.
Sorry. There's an emotional aspect to it too.
What's that?
As a straight male who's attracted to women, I've been in love with a woman before.
Right.
If I was serving shoulder to shoulder, let's just say that you put these women they're clearly in good shape because they're doing,
Sure.
fucking 2 hours of PT every morning
Right.
and a couple hours in the evening.
Right.
And then you put them next to these, godly men,
Right.
barbaric men, right?
Right.
And someone's going to catch a feeling. Period.
Right.
Plain and fucking simple. It's
Right.
the way it goes.
Especially if you're cut out. I mean, even at work, when you're cut off from
19, get the fuck out of here, shit. Oh yeah, let's just put fucking 3 of you around freaking 25 of me, and let's just see how
Right.
many come out of this.
I'm telling
okay.
you, at Cheesecake Factory, when I worked at Cheesecake Factory, those are all people from 17 to 25, and they're fucking incestuous, nasty.
I know.
Everybody's fucking everybody.
Yep.
Now, you go ahead and make all of those people even more sequestered from the outside world and outside of any other sexual opportunity, and you make them into really good shape.
Yep.
Anyway,
And then you put them in the middle of nowhere with nobody else around, no other options around. We're banging. Fuck that shit. Someone's getting fucked, if not everybody. And it's just the way it goes. I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, so now let's just take it a step further. Let's just say that, for instance, the girl doesn't get knocked up and doesn't end up pregnant and doesn't have to be removed from the fucking front line, and now you're down a rifleman.
Jesus.
Okay? Let's just say that's not even a thing. Let's say you catch fucking feelings. All right? Which, again, will happen. It will fucking happen. It's the way it goes.
Right.
Now, if you've ever had feelings for a person, you realize that nothing that happens around you matters, and as long as this person is okay. The second that this person is not okay,
Right.
nothing else matters. Everything else ceases to exist. This person's problem is yours. Well,
Right.
we are trained in the infantry to fight. We have a medic that takes care of that shit. If they take a round in the shoulder, chest, or whatever the fuck, say the head or the face, we look down to it. We tend to that wound until a medic can come to it, and then we're back on the line shooting. Right? That's what you're trained to do. Now, your mind is in the fight. That's what we're trying to do. Train, fight. That's what it is. Now, this person goes down next to you. Now you have emotional attachment to this person. You are in love with this person.
Right.
You think that you're fucking worried about the people downrange firing at your buddies? Fuck no. You have one thing on your mind now. So there's an emotional aspect to it too. People don't want to talk about, because it's like, how can you be sure? It's very fucking sure. I'm very sure of that. I mean, people, it's just the way it goes, man. People are who they are, and and even if it doesn't happen once, it'll happen once somewhere else. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, the reality is that I go back to a lot of this feminism stuff it is the pride talking. It's not necessarily your body talking. Right. And I one of my big fights is for the honesty thing. And if a girl legit all the way in her belly, she grew up shooting fake guns like us, she grew up and she just wants to be that, fucking rock and roll. If your body can do it, rock and roll. But let's not. I mean, there's a reason why, Patrice O'Neal, you ever listen to Patrice O'Neal, the comedian? Fucking hilarious. My favorite comedian of all time. Anyway, he's passed away 2011, I think, 2012. Anyway, one of the things he talked about was he doesn't really respect female cops, and and part of the thing he said, like, what? Why would you? You're a tiny Mexican broad with a belt is like hanging down. It's so heavy, it's hanging down. Like, why would you want to? And number two, he doesn't. The same thing goes for weak men. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to lower the standards for weak men. Not weak, not weak spiritually, not weak mentally, not weak mentally.
Physically weak.
Physically, literally, your body can't do it. Yeah. Why would we lower the standards for that? And not just that, when you're a big ass fucking, statey, when you're a big, military motherfucker with muscles, like, you're not going to take advantage. Yeah. But if I was a cop, shit, man, like I'd be a pain in the ass. Like I would be not Harvey Keitel necessarily, but not bad lieutenant. But I'd be on the way to that. Like I don't want somebody who's insecure in their body or in their life trying to take out that power elsewhere.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I want somebody who can go into a room and arrest me even if they weren't a cop.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like somebody who like that
making up for their shortcomings.
Right.
At your expense.
Right.
And I mean, God knows we've all been a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Both ways, yeah.
I have nothing but respect for when done properly, the police department,
Right.
But, I mean, I've had my run-ins with people that exercise their powers that should never have been exercised, you know what I mean?
Right. And we see that at the fucking DMV. When I go to the DMV and I can tell this person... and I'm not saying anytime I get inconvenienced, it's because somebody's fucking with me. I'm not saying fucking with me, but what I'm saying is you can tell... This chick has not been fucked in a long time.
Yeah.
Nobody in her life is treating her the way she wants to be treated. Or fucked well. And so she is taking it out on anywhere she can.
Yep.
Right? And men do that. Women do that. Anybody can do that. But why set it up that way?
Right.
Why give a bunch of weak people who need to prove to everybody around them that they're, you were talking about, like, we don't even do it with football. We don't do it with the UFC. Nope. We're not going to have, you know what I mean? Come on, dude.
It was your podcast with Michael where it was like, why don't you let, where's the outcry for Asians in the NFL? I was like, yeah, right? I mean, it's shit I've already thought of, but at the same time, it's like, man, I mean, you can't make people laugh at Amy Schumer jokes. You know what I mean? They're not fucking funny. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's because you're sexist. It's no, because she's not funny, and she's fucking just horrible.
Yeah,
but anyways, but that's my opinion. You know what I mean? But there's plenty of. I've talked to a lot of women that love it. You know what I mean? Because talking about your twat's just the best.
Right. Well, and this is, I always think about it in the form of the analogy of or the metaphor, because I'm not stupid or I'm not smart. But is this idea of the super friends? Dudes are really good at X, so they should kind of, most of the time, generalization, there's exceptions, most of the time be in charge of X then, if they're good at X, right? Superman is good at doing Superman shit. If we need a shit ton of dolphins, we're not gonna call Superman, we're gonna call fucking Aquaman, right? Girls are generally, there are exceptions, good at girl shit. It's just because we don't really necessarily want you next to us showering in the military and on the front lines if you can't carry me out if I'm shot, doesn't mean that women are less than us. It doesn't. You're just in charge of different shit. Why can't you have pride in your own shit?
I'm fixing up a new place I got here in Burlingame, and I'm fixing it to flip it. Who do you think I called to help me decorate the bitch?
Right. Exactly.
Not my friend that is named James.
Right.
You know what I mean? I absolutely, they can help me zero.
You call a gay guy or a female?
They have an eye for it, but the thing is I'm not going to say they're naturally good at that, but they've spent a majority of their life, paying attention to these things.
Right. There's interest in it.
You know what I mean? Like I've had someone comment on my jeans, a male comments on my jeans once in my life. He's my gay friend.
Right, exactly.
How do you notice that shit, dude? It's
right.
like, there's a little bit too much bunching there at the bottom. What? He told me on a subway in New York, too. I'm like, bro, there's some fucking A-positive fucking people watching right now, and you notice the bunching at the bottom of my jeans. But, I took in my head, I'm like, okay. I threw them jeans out.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, okay, I didn't really notice, but yeah, I mean, they're just comfortable. But I have other jeans that don't bunch like that, and good point. But dude, is it a fucking coincidence that the only person that ever pointed anything out of my jeans has been women?
Right.
And I had a girl when I was in the military. I was dating her, and she kept trying to take me to fucking like Abercrombie & Fitch and Gap, and like the only Gap you're putting me in is what I mean? Yours. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my style. But the thing is there's girls that are good at that stuff. There's guys. Look, don't get me wrong. There's straight guys that know what they're doing.
Sure.
But they're probably not gonna be the guys that come up to you and compliment your.
Apparently, Mike might be one, but I'm not sure about his sexuality.
Hey, I don't know what he showed up wearing. I heard him say he's like, yeah, I dressed a little. Bro, he dresses a little gay. But here's the thing is let's just
rainbow
say
socks and shit, motherfucker.
Gay and a positive thing is if him and I went out and we were the same person.
Oh yeah.
Mike dressed like him and me dressed like me. He's getting the pussy with the he's also getting the dick too though.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
At the same time, I use the gay in a positive form. He dresses gay. He dresses well. No, I mean he dresses well.
Sure.
I mean he really does wear pink and pops his collar and wears short shorts and shit. But the thing is like I had a girl tell me recently. I was at the beach. She's like, why are your trunks so long there, like to my knee or whatever? She goes, girls like to see leg too. I'm like, I don't care. Girls like bras and skirts too. I don't need to go wearing them.
Right.
So girls know what they like, and then homosexuals tend to know what they want as well, and it tends to be in line.
Right.
And Mike knows what both of them want. It just happens that he's straight and he's got a great
right. If I'm gonna like buy a suit and I'm like, oh fuck, do I need a pocket square? I would text stupid ass Mike. You know what I mean? I'd be like, hey, what kind of,
right.
And he'd be like, right. And then I'd know. But like, even on that episode, I'm like, I have never ever even thought about buying cufflinks. That's never been even a thought in my mind. No. I literally am wearing these pants are from, and I've lost a lot of weight recently, but like this is maybe from about 30 pounds ago. I've lost 100 and almost 110 pounds, and I've lost, and this was from like 30 pounds ago. I just like the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wear these Tims like almost every day because I just like them. They're sturdy or whatever, but also like they may not go with everything, but I just like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like what I like, and I like. I'm not saying every straight dude wears the same shit all the time, but like I'm not gonna buy a fucking cufflink. I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know. That's just not my
right. And you know, here's the thing: is if I need to move a couch from one side of the house to another,
right,
and I can't do it myself,
right.
I'm not going to ask the same person that I had, you know, tell me that this looks better over there.
Right.
You know
or
what I mean?
asking me to...
they're not going to be picking up 300 pounds on their end. Very plain and simple.
Right.
So, again, it's not like I'm only asking them because they're male. I'm asking them because they're male and capable.
Right. And just because as far as the pendulum thing goes, just because we set it up, you know, we were awful rapey motherfuckers for a very long time. And we can still get very rapey. Don't get me wrong.
Who's we?
Men.
What? Okay.
So like me, no, here's what I mean. Speak for like
yourself,
the pendulum. I haven't raped anybody in like 2 weeks. No, but like I'm saying, like up until, I mean, you know, girls couldn't vote. You know, you could beat your wife. You know, I'm saying like just because you know there was like real sexual harassment, not the type of sexual harassment now. I'm saying like real ass type of sexual harassment where like dudes would be like, if you want this job, you're gonna suck my dick. You know what I mean? Okay. So like that's
casting couch shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So the pendulum is swinging to the other side, but the center is where we want. Not way the fuck over here where like, okay, you don't want me to have power? Now I'm going to make believe that my biceps are as big as yours. Bitch, like stop. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to swing all the way over here. Like what you like you said. Like I know a lot of females who just automatically are like, you know, who's fucking Jesus. Sorry. But like I know a lot of females, like when I look on Instagram, who's like doing a live Instagram video about baking. It's not dudes. Sorry, it's not straight dudes. Like what you like, girls. Like it's okay for you to not like rolling around in the mud and shooting at people.
Right.
I kind of, you know what I mean? Like I've even thought about since losing all this weight, it's like I've been talking a lot about it. Like I want to start beating motherfuckers up. Like I want to start doing some boxing. Yeah. I guess jiu-jitsu is important. I've never like really been in
hey, you know what?
I want to have a box. I want to punch motherfuckers.
I know, but hey, they say a good percentage of those fights they go to the ground. You know, jiu-jitsu is a good thing to know once you hit that thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Right.
But you know what? There's some, you know, you got the Ronda Rouseys and shit like that. Mm-hmm. These people, I mean, they're trained to do that, and then on top of that too, there's something about them that's kind of butch. You know, something about it. There's like I said, nature is what it is, but at the same time, we should not ignore and deny where we are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I like to speak on you know the 9 times out of 10. Of course, there's going to be that woman that can handle. I don't want to ignore that. At the same time, let's just, you know, let's not drop everything and pretend like things aren't what they are. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Right. And even with the Ronda Rouseys, 2 things about those. I think I've said it on the podcast. But like Ronda Rousey's man is going to be a more beefy, you know, dangerous motherfucker than her. Yeah. And not
even
just
I
that.
can imagine her wanting to wear the pants. You know what I mean? Yes, dear.
And not just that. Ronda Rousey could kick my fucking ass, right?
Yeah.
But could she beat up even fucking, you know, Tony Ferguson? Stop. You know what I mean? Like, he would absolutely destroy
that was
her.
another thing I like that you touched on. You were talking about, like, be like, why is there woman and male UFC?
Right.
Why don't just everybody fight everybody?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Even then, weight class, because you weigh more, you should be able to fight in the. You know what I mean? You don't think these lightweights want a freaking heavyweight belt? Give them the opportunity. Fuck, but they're gonna get done up.
Right,
you know
Tony
mean?
Ferguson versus Damian Lewis.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't give a fuck how much better you are, bro. That fucking extra foot, that's done for. It's just the way it is.
The extra foot and the extra 20 pounds
nature.
behind the punch,
yes.
like that.
Now,
makes
if I'm a
difference.
10 times better fighter than you, and you are, you know, 3 times my size, you know, you might have yourself a battle.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You go ahead and you put me up against someone that has, you know, 40 pounds on me, and then I'm a way better fighter than him. Fuck those 40 pounds, dude. I'll use them against you.
Right.
So it's just kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, we're just ignoring common sense.
Right.
There's very few things left in the world that does not ignore common sense, and I believe fighting is one of them.
Right.
Because if you allow any of that to be unfair, you're gonna probably end up taking someone's life.
Right. But this is the thing, and it goes back to that military conversation. Military is another one where you can talk about social constructs all you want at fucking Starbucks. But when it comes to my life or the safety and freedom of a country, let's be fucking real. If there's one place that reality needs to stay, it's there, right? And these guys, we've kind of fudged the numbers so somebody can get in and not have their feelings hurt. Like, these are lives, real-ass lives. Not just the lives of...
Lives that are dependent on the person to the right and left of you.
And not just that, people in Kurdish, in the Kurds. The lives of the Kurds are at stake. And that's brown people. And the liberals apparently care so much about brown people, they don't even give a fuck about the idea that people could die if you're trying to be more equal in equality and shit. You know what I mean?
Right. And if you want to be effective in what we do, and the things that we're sent as defenders of a nation to go do,
right?
You gotta listen. You gotta listen to the people doing it,
right?
And a majority of the people doing it, the higher ups, they don't think it's a good idea, but apparently there's some that do. But I believe a lot of it's a yes man thing. You know, like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. It's frustrating, dude. And then, like, they got into the whole transvestites in the military. It's like, cool, man, and that's great. But I don't think they should be deployable. And then there's the argument.
You mean transgender? Transvestite is you wear women's clothing. Transgender is
sorry, transgender.
It's all right.
That didn't sound ignorant at all. But I try not to spend my time thinking about it.
I'm not shaming you, dude. I'm not shaming you at all.
It's cool. I don't care if you wear. I live in the Bay, bro. I get hit from all corners.
Right.
So, these people, they need their hormones or their whatever that they have to take. Like, you shouldn't be deployed reliant on medication. If you're a diabetic, shit, we had a guy that spent 8 years in the military, and then we deployed to Afghanistan, and he couldn't deploy to Afghanistan because he was diabetic. He had never had an episode, but he required medication.
Shit.
But because he required medication, you're out there on the front lines, bro. We were out for 6 weeks and had no communication with the rear.
Wow.
So what are you gonna do?
You have your food packs and your gun and your boys.
We get food dropped off to us, in a crate from a helicopter here or there. But none of that was guaranteed. You know what I mean? And if you were relying on medication to stay alive or keep your mood at a certain level, fuck off, dude. We have some really heavy machinery out there that can take a lot of life and do a lot of damage. You should not be freaking having mood swings because you didn't get your hormones or whatever.
Right.
And that's the other thing is also, I understand why diabetics aren't fucking deployed out there. No one's complaining that diabetics don't have a fucking fair shot. They need their fucking shit or they may die.
Right.
It's just the way it goes. You should not be reliant on medication. We don't have junkies. I mean, that's a whole nother story. That's not a good one. But
okay.
But you get what I'm saying. Like,
right.
we don't have people that are reliant on medication out there on the front lines.
Right.
I mean, it's just the way it goes. We have places in the military for certain things. Like I said, the women. They're very deployable, highly deployable. But the thing is like the Kurds do it. Like, they have women units. I'm not saying that's the way to go because that's super.
Right. Now, do they send their women units into combat?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Those women are badass.
Okay. Now, what do you?
And they're not complaining about women being segregated from men. They
interesting.
Yeah, it's not. But it's an honor to fight as a woman over there. But if we ever open up the idea of women infantry units and men, oh fuck, dude, that's like black and white water fountains.
Right.
And I understand, I agree. It's just, man, it's just such a slippery slope, and there's so many points on both sides. I see them both, but I just don't imagine. Again, my biggest factor, besides of course the physical inability, in some cases,
sure,
but the emotional attachment in all cases. And
right.
I think that the whole "don't ask, don't tell" thing wasn't so much that was Bill Clinton's idea, by the way. Yeah, just so we're clear, it wasn't a fucking Republican.
Right.
So it was. I don't even think it was a stab at the gays. They're basically saying you could be gay, just don't talk about it, don't act on it. But
right.
the thing is that's a good thing because now you can't act on your feelings. You can't
right.
you can't be romantically involved with anyone because
right.
it's not a factor. And
right.
as a matter of fact, if you came out as gay during that time, they would kick you out. So no one brought up their feelings or emotions in a homosexual way. So there was never that factor on the front lines. And I'll tell you like this: I don't think I served with any gays, but if I did, I didn't know about it.
Right.
They definitely didn't touch my ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah. It was a good idea. It worked.
Now, when a straight guy and a straight girl, when they fuck in the military, is it the same type of thing where like, hey, don't let your superior officers know? Or
well, yeah. I mean, there's stories now. There's pictures of like team leaders, women team leaders banging their superiors, or not pictures of them banging, but like holding hands in public. But now, if you think for 1 second that their E4 girlfriend and their E8 boyfriend, this guy's not going to have some sort of fucking
E4,
preferential.
E8, what's that
oh,
mean?
it's so some corporal or specialist in the military, some low-ranking guy, and then the platoon sergeant or first sergeant is their higher ranking people are dating the younger people. If you don't think there's going to be preferential treatment for that squad or that group or details, I mean, that's another story. That the thing is, there's fraternization in all walks of life, so we can't rule that out. But the thing is, again, my idea is feelings in a combat situation. Again, your girlfriend goes down, man, it's going to be different than your buddy. I promise
so
you that.
is there ever a time where they move somebody to a different unit?
I don't know, man. I don't know. They're not making this a very public thing. I think they're starting to see how bad of an idea it was. Right. And we have enough. I kind of disconnected myself from military, especially recently, because it was such a prideful place. But now you see guys that I served with that they stayed in when I got out. They're getting out at 14, 16 years because they just can't do it anymore. They just can't deal with that culture anymore. And it's not even about the women. It's just the culture that it's become.
Culture meaning doing the same thing that we're doing at the higher levels of like, well, we need to accept everybody and make believe that. And they have all these classes, all these I'll spend a day and a half online at where I work to do all these, HR classes and accounting classes, and nothing to do with my job, and then sexual harassment. That's fine. But the thing is I don't recall going to a sexual harassment class because we were a bunch of dudes, and it was like, don't. What are you gonna tell me not to talk to Linda? There's no Linda, Right. Like I can't tell how pretty Linda is in her dress. Right. There's no homos. So it's like there's no situation where I will be hitting on someone I'm working with because everyone's straight, right? Nod your head, and no one's a woman, so there's nobody hitting on anyone. So there's no factor. And of course, we have briefings every Friday, and everyone they'd send us out there to tell you wear a condom, make sure you don't fucking touch women inappropriately, do not put your hands on your wife or your girlfriend in a way they don't want. Don't. And this was back in 2003.
This was back in the day.
Okay.
But now it's like they have all these. I forget all the acronyms and abbreviations they have for these fucking classes, but they're spending so much time out of the field in non-combat classes. It's become this whole politically correct situation. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. He got in trouble for laughing in the middle of a sexual harassment class. It's like you can't even laugh anymore. It's such a. I don't know, man. It's all shit I hear. When I was in, we were still allowed to.
Fucking
we were allowed to be soldiers.
Run and jump over a ravine. And,
yeah.
And do dude shit too, because that's the other thing is like you said, making fun of that guy for having a big dick. You can't really do that if there's females like right next to you showering. Like that's.
Oh, I don't think that that's the other thing is I don't know how that's going down because we only had a male bathroom and male showers. So I don't know if they have women shower time now. I don't know, dude. I don't ask because it would all irritate me. I don't imagine that any of the answers. Like you guys got into the pissing in bathrooms. It's like, look, dude, I have no problem pissing where there's a woman, but like, I go in our bathrooms. Our bathrooms are fucking gross, and now some girls got to sit on that shit. Sorry, but girls are for it. And, you want to sit on piss. Sorry about it.
The other thing is too. I heard this story or I read this article. Part of it was a military guy talking about the problems of having females involved, and they were talking about how they were in, I want to say it was a truck or a helicopter, and they were on their way to this, or in the middle of this mission, and how they had to literally get up, and they're stacked, like there's so many soldiers in that truck or in that helicopter, I can't remember, and they literally had to like piss and shit, and like you had to get up and like put like like a cup underneath so you could do your business, and like if there's a bunch of dudes already, like it's a horrible situation that you have to, but you're in the middle of a fight of combat, you have to just do what you need to do.
Sometimes you gotta piss and shit yourself, dude.
Right.
It's life.
I love that sentence.
Maybe it's life out there, but yeah.
But like now you are literally sitting. You've got you're sitting on you're stacked on top of another dude's lap, and there's a girl sitting next to you, and you have to do your business or let her do her business. Like that. Come on, man. Just be real. Just be real.
I couldn't have imagined living one day in my life as an infantryman with 82nd Airborne with a woman next to me. Fuck no, dude. And here's the thing. Dude, I have a mother that I love. I have a sister that I love. I respect them both.
Right.
So I have nothing but the utmost respect for women.
Right.
I would fucking not want for 1 second my sister
right.
or any girlfriend that I'm friends with or any girlfriend I've ever had to be exposed to the shit that we were doing, saying, acting every single minute of every single day.
Right.
I could not have. It would not have been the same experience had there been a woman there. So, hey, sorry we had to ruin your party, Ken. There's more to life than your wants and needs. And that's absolutely understandable.
Sure.
But at the same time, infantrymen were being infantrymen, and we were, we weren't told not to fight, but we were told not to fight. It's like expected that we would. As a matter of fact, I remember one. So our. Semper Fi's
fight interpersonally. You mean?
Interpersonally,
Okay.
We went out getting drunk. They didn't want us fighting at bars, but they knew it would happen. They just wanted to make sure that we didn't get in trouble. But one of the briefings was, if you're going to get into a fight, don't get into a fight. But I know you assholes will. So when you do, make sure you win and run off yelling Semper Fi. So they think you're a Marine.
Right, yeah. Right.
So, but the thing is we're going to be who we are. We're going to do what we're going to do, and it was influenced. We were influenced to be us. You know what I mean? Right. We were killers on the battlefield.
Right.
We're not going to come off the battlefield and then handed roses and be like, okay, no, calm down, everybody. Like they still had to keep the killer in us, but they had to give us time, to decompress, to get out and have our drinks and have our fun, but to do it tactfully and not to get in trouble when you do it. But you're always kind of put in you. That you're always going to be a killer. But you put the women next to you. You gotta. I'm not pulling my dick out, running down the hall, buck naked. Saying, "Look at me, I'm a helicopter." You know what I mean?
Right.
Now you have to be tactful. That's you know what I mean. So you're just opening a fucking bottle of sexual harassment.
Right.
And shit, man. I don't even know how to talk to a woman anymore now. I just feel like everything's gonna be pound me too.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to. I like you're old enough to say pound. These kids don't know what hashtag is pound,
bro.
But there's so many. Because that goes to that point that we were talking about at the beginning. Was like part of the animal that we are as dudes is to be rough and tumble. And if you're in a group, I was a part of a group for a long time that wasn't certainly fighting, but we thought we were. And one of the ways that structure was really important. But one of the ways we kind of blew off steam to that structure was just ragging on each other and giving each other shit and just being saying all manner of foul joke and making fun of each other and just farting on each other's heads. Like
I don't want people doing that around my sister.
Right.
I don't. You know what I mean? And I still have conversations around my male friends. I would never have around my mother.
Right.
I wouldn't want people having around my sister.
Right.
You know what I mean? That shit would piss me the fuck off.
Right.
But these girls, I could take it. I could do. I'm one of the guys. That's cool. But you're still someone's sister. You're still someone's daughter. And I mean, it's like everything's fun and games. We're watching porn until you start fucking thinking about the the humanity aspect of it.
Right.
Again, there was not a day that went by in the barracks in the infantry that could have been lived similarly around a woman. Every day would have been different. Every person would have been different.
And I'm also interested to know if these like super strict feminists are really bad about it. Let's all go onto a giant boat, hit an iceberg, and see who gets on the fucking boat first. Like, okay, we'll put the kids on. Now you actually want me and you to both equally get on the fucking safe.
Girl, boy.
Right. You're out of your fucking mind. Yeah. Liars. Fucking liars. Because you're not fighting to get in.
When's it convenient for you for feminism to take its place?
You know what is another way that it's convenient? Is I saw another, over and over, these super left-wing people are throwing their drink on people who wear a MAGA hat or, these little tiny girls are punching dudes in the face. Like, I am restricting the animal in my gut to save your fucking life, even though you're literally asking me to punch you. And if I did, all of a sudden, you're hitting a girl. Like, you fucking liar. Yeah. You fucking liar.
I know. And the thing is, this dude is, feminism, has not helped any woman. How about this? The roles and genders has saved the face of plenty of women. Like, I've been attacked by most of my girlfriends, like physically. I have never put my hands, not once. Like
Right.
one time I had one swinging her leg at my groin, so I I held her closer to me so that she couldn't do that crap.
Right,
But then she went right for the claws.
Right.
The one, I did punch a woman once, but I was getting jumped and I didn't know who was who.
Right,
it was dark and everybody got it.
Right,
So
right,
just so happened one of them was a woman.
Okay.
And hitting that woman, everybody saw it and it kind of stopped the fight. It was like, oh shit. But
Interesting.
But I won't put my dude. A woman can hit me. A woman, dude. I got attacked in high school by a woman bigger than me.
Right.
Didn't do shit, man. I was taught differently, and I still feel that way.
Right.
But it's like, if you're really, really for equality, that would offend you. It would offend you that I did not punch the woman.
Right. Yeah.
So when and where does this bus fucking stop, and when the fuck do I get off? It doesn't. Nothing makes sense. And,
Right.
And equality has again saved the nose and eyeballs of plenty of fucking females because I do not agree that equality is equal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I am
Right.
stronger than this woman.
Right.
I would fucking end this woman.
Right.
What am I going to exercise those fucking
No.
those no, hell no.
Right.
And it's worked out well for my ex-girlfriend. My disbelief in equality has
Right.
worked out well for women. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said for that too. Like Camille Paglia. You ever heard of Camille Paglia? She's first wave feminist, not the second or third or whatever. She just wants equality of opportunity when it comes. I mean, I think the beginning of feminism made a lot of sense. Like, okay, yeah, you can vote. All right, okay, yeah, you can. Right. You know what I mean? Okay, we shouldn't rape you. You know what I mean? Although even in fucking even far back, rapists or woman beaters were held to actually very strict fucking consequences as well. It's not like up until the 60s we could beat you openly in the streets. Like, stop. But anyway, so I believe the first wave of that. But one of the things Camille Paglia talked about was not just the Titanic thing where women and children first, but also one of the benefits of being a female is that dudes would literally go out, since we're going to be hunting, we're going to go out in Native American cultures. They would go out into the woods and in packs, with other dudes and go fight, or not just go fight, but also go hunt to bring back meat back to the tribe.
Right.
And many men would die out in the field.
Yeah.
Like many men would die just going to get, a fucking wolf, or all of a sudden there's a bison charge, or all of a sudden a fucking a neighboring Native American tribe comes and fucking kills half of our men. Like, there are benefits. It's not just all patriarchy.
Equality has actually ended up working out well for women and minorities in general. I mean,
Sure.
if you look for it, let's be honest. Obama's initial president, his initial seat as president was highly motivated by the color of his skin.
Right.
Okay. We now have a governor, and I don't know much about her, but she's a black lesbian woman. Sorry, mayor. We have a mayor.
Oh, right.
Black lesbian woman.
Right.
I'm sure that all three of those had a factor. She might be great. She might not be. I don't really know. I really don't, in all honesty. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that probably helped.
Right.
The fire chief of San Francisco. She's an amazing woman. But she's a woman. The fire chief of Oakland, woman. Mayor of Oakland, woman. The last presidential candidate, I don't know how the fuck she didn't win, but she was a woman. And I know people that voted for her because she was a woman. I know people that voted for Obama because he was black. And they openly admit to it.
Right.
But that's racist as fuck if I said I voted for someone because they're white. And I never have.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just voted for him because I thought, whoever. But what I'm saying is there are people that are now getting jobs because of the color of their skin. They're getting jobs because of, not to say that they're not, how do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can do the job, but they probably got the job over someone else that could have done the job that had less qualities like the color of their skin or the sex that they have. I don't know.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing too, is that there are benefits on both sides, and to act like, I mean, shit, I've taken advantage. I've taken advantage of times. I can't think of a good example, but like, it's human nature to take advantage of what you can. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So of course it's going to swing to the side of, and of course we all want like equality for racial, races. We all want equality, but I don't want to be punished. Like one of the things, did you hear what Don Lemon said the other day on?
A bunch of racist shit, but he can get away with it because he's
right. He's even half black, man. I mean, come on, let's be fucking real. He's Bryant Gumbel black. Yeah. Anyway,
I thought he was Bryant Gumbel for a little bit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things he said, listeners. What he said was he was talking about, let's see, the stupid, crazy, psycho bomber who sent all those bomb packages to all the Democrats, and then he also talked about the synagogue shooter from a couple of days ago. And he was saying, you know, the biggest terrorist threat are all these white men. And first he said, we shouldn't demonize groups of people, but the biggest terrorist threat is white men. And then he doubled down. He got in a little trouble, or not really, because CNN's not going to get rid of that motherfucker. No. I mean, he's black, and he's, you know, he didn't say anything that CNN would disagree with.
Right.
But he said, the biggest terrorist threat is all these white men. And then he said, and if that makes you uncomfortable, it's because you're not looking at the facts. So let's look at the numbers. And then he went through the numbers. He said, besides 9/11, XXXXX of all these different statistics, which, by the way, why are you saying besides 9/11?
Besides the facts.
In order to make my stat work, I'm going to cut out 9/11 altogether.
Back to convenience.
Right. But even besides all that argument, let's make it real uncomfortable for the liberals out there for a second. Let's look at the numbers. If you really want to take a look, say if I had Don Lemon in the room, let's take a look at the numbers, Don. The numbers of black men who create gun violence in America, who commit the murders, are a lot higher than what it should be. Let's look at the fucking numbers, right? Black on black crime is incredibly high. Incredibly high. Blacks make up, I was looking at statistics, it was something like 50% of murders. They're 14% of the country. 50% of murders.
Math's also inconvenient.
Also inconvenient. Now, I'm not saying we need to target black men.
Nope.
But you just said we need to do something. Something needs to be done about these white men. Motherfucker, where does your logic exactly, like you're saying, convenient logic? If you really want to break it down, something needs to be done about black men. Fuck you, you loser, you liar, you fucking liar.
And that's the thing is, he's doing his half of his community, the black community, a disservice by not bringing up black on black crime.
No.
If they start showing rage for that kind of shit, I mean, maybe, I don't know. They've never fucking done it. They should maybe try.
All they do in the black community is do a lot of appealing at church. What they do anyway, a little bit at the governmental level, but mostly it's at church. Please stop the violence, or in the riot. Oh, stop the violence. Right. But you don't vote to stop the violence. You don't fucking tell CNN, like CNN never has an expose about, hey, what in the fuck is going on?
Right.
Because that's an uncomfortable thing to look at.
It is, and it's inconvenient. The thing is it's the inner city has a strong, the Democratic Party has a strong appeal to the inner city. And I mean, you hear from time to time these people that come out of nowhere saying, what has the Democratic Party ever done for us?
Right.
But I'll tell you what they have done. They've increased your food stamps. But the thing is, I know that it's every community, white, black, no matter what. But the thing is it does behoove a person who doesn't have much, who doesn't have a lot of money, who's getting a lot of government subsidies to vote for the Democrats, because they're going to freaking lace you up. It's the way it goes. Right. I don't care about the color of your skin. It's going to be your financial situation.
Right. And I've benefited from it.
Yeah. Right. And I get that. And I at the same time too is like all these large cities are primarily run by Democrats.
Right.
And they don't seem to be doing much for that demographic.
And I think
I'm just pointing out what I know. I'm not part of it.
Sure.
But it just seems to me that nothing's getting better.
Right. And when I think if we bring it down to the animal, like we were talking about, if we bring it down to the animal, part of the reason why I think females are going off in this crazy direction is because males are going off in this crazy direction. And the direction we're going off in is, okay, we're that crazy animal, like running around shooting stuff, but we don't like the structure. And one of the structures is, hey, I know that you are getting offered all this money from the Democrats. Don't take it. Part of the structure is charity is only for those who need it. Do you need charity? As a dude in my balls, I don't want to fucking want charity. It feels gross to me. Sometimes we all get it. We all need help. I'm not saying we don't need help from time to time. And there's loopholes. Cut the loopholes, whatever. Right. But like in my balls, I don't want. That feels like I'm not a man. Right. And I want to feel like I'm a fucking man. I'm a goddamn man, you know? And one of the ways is the structure of responsibility. Females are socially, and I don't think it's bad, but socially they can live with their parents until they're 30, and it's not the end of the world. And girls right now, even right now, who are like rah about sisters are doing it for themselves type of shit. Like, are you on your dad's Verizon plan? You know what I mean? Yeah. Are you on your dad's family plan? I don't think you shouldn't be, but have a little humility. But like, dudes, it's not socially acceptable for us because there's something in us that just needs to support for ourselves. There's something in us that just needs to do that. Right. But
the thing is these things have been okayed from generation to generation too. Right. You know what I mean? I don't care what demographic you're from, but these lower income areas tend to not have a stable family environment.
Not a lot of dads.
Yeah. Right. And because of that, there's not that in my balls gotta, but it's generation and it's becoming more generation after generation.
Guys don't get what you got.
Right. And so, I mean, I feel it in my balls. I don't want anyone. I don't want to ask for help ever. I really don't. I'll break my back before that happens most of the time. But the thing is that was something that was instilled in me.
Right.
And it's
a lot of men growing up are not getting the benefit of that you got from your dad of the structure.
And that's privilege. Right. Is it white privilege? Fuck, dude. If you want to say the reason I have a father is because I'm white, go ahead. That's kind of racist. But if you're gonna go ahead and say I have white privilege because I have a dad, then you're just basically being racist against black people, saying, "Oh, black people don't have dads."
Right.
Well, do they? Or is it's because they're black? Is it because their community? What is it? Right. All I'm saying is I just had a fucking dad. If you want to say I have a dad because I'm white,
right?
Go ahead, homie.
Right.
You're the racist. I don't give a fuck how you get it.
I think there's something to that, but again, just because it's there doesn't mean, or just because it's a fact doesn't mean that I'm saying that the cause is because of black skin or because of black bodies. I'm not saying
it's a culture, man.
It's a culture thing.
It is.
A lot of dudes, like I had my friend Joe was on here, and he was like, it's anecdotal maybe, but not really. Like across the board, a lot of black males just don't have dudes they don't have fathers in their life. You know what I mean? And then just that begets more shit and begets more, and just the next generation does the same thing. Like we gotta cinch that shit down, man.
We had a couple black people in my neighborhood growing up, and I was middle class. They all had fathers. Mm-hmm. I again, it's the financial situation. You know what I mean?
And apparently I was thinking like the 60s.
The trailer parks, go ahead and visit them. There's not a lot of father figures there too. You know what I mean? It's.
But in the 60s, blacks had a divorce rate that was lower than whites. Like there was more fathers in the home in blacks than in white families in the 60s.
In the 60s,
yeah. Okay. But now it's gone up to, I think it's 75% of black families don't have fathers, in 75%.
It's unreal.
I mean, something's wrong. Don't just you're like, can we at least address? And this is the thing that I was thinking about earlier. There's exceptions, blah blah blah. Can we just have the conversation? That's what I like about doing this podcast. That's one of the many things. But that's what I like about doing this whole fucking thing is like, in the Bay Area, we need somewhere to at least say something's fucked up.
Or you're not going to end up fired for it.
Right. Or like, hey, I don't agree with X, Y, or Z, and I'm not a piece of shit just because I don't agree with X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. Or I don't like Hillary. I'm not an anti-woman. I just didn't like the bitch. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. You know what I mean?
I do. And, to be honest with you, I was just having this discussion the other night, not to take it in another direction, but I will.
Please. No, do it.
At first I wasn't going to vote at all. I was like, stop it. This is everybody just fucking stop it. Hold on. Because look at the last, few elections we've had. It's just been like clown. But and if you really think about it, the position of president, you gotta be out of your fucking mind to want to do that shit.
Oh yeah.
Expose everything that you've ever done your entire life, get ridiculed by half the fucking country, get paid some
$400,000. I think.
Yeah, like I have people at my company making $400,000 a year. No one knows their name. Right. Yeah, I'd rather be that guy. You know what I mean? It's just it's so much power and so much responsibility for such little appreciation. So
Sure.
you got to be crazy, but you have to also have some. You got to be some egomaniac.
Sure.
Which I think we may have in office now,
Sure.
but also too, you have to be a career politician.
Yeah.
Which to me does not sound. Again, you have to want this in your fucking head. If you really take a step back,
Right.
This is your mentality. Fuck every idea behind it, man.
Right.
The stress involved in itself. Leader of the free world. I don't have to
Right.
explain anymore.
Right.
So, but it's just that idea. Like you have to be a clown in yourself to want to do that. So now you have that factor, but then you have the factor that slowly but surely over time we've just opened the door for more and more novelty people to come in and run for office. But it's not just here; it's everywhere.
Sure.
And it's getting worse. So I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm not even gonna vote. I don't like him. I don't like her. I like the way things kind of have gone with them, whether that's a factor or not. At that time, I did not want anything to do with it until protesters started attacking Trump supporters at their own rallies. So now that to me was like a group of people attacking people exercising their free speech. That does not fucking fly well for me at all, especially coming from where I came from and fighting what I fought for. That does not resonate well with me.
Right.
So that was one thing I started paying attention to is like, Hillary could show up at wherever the hell she wanted to, and her supporters were safe. Trump had to be walked around buildings. I saw the girl get egged out in front of some hotel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, by a group of men. Imagine it's like my little sister getting fucking egged by a group of fucking men because she's coming out of a fucking Trump rally. So I started seeing this. I started getting heated, and then I saw that fucking rally in San Jose where there were those guys running through the Trump supporters, waving American flags and assaulting the fucking. So now I'm like, okay, so now you have people waving other countries' flags, assaulting people who are out supporting a president that you don't like.
Right.
Now I'm just going to vote for his ass to spite you.
Right.
So congratulations. Now look, we could
Right.
live in California and my fucking vote was a giant
Yeah,
goose egg.
right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I did it out of principle. But the thing is people with these violent people are not understanding is they're actually helping
The other side.
out.
Right.
If they had just shut their fucking mouth and let people exercise their fucking free rights,
Right.
they probably would have ended up with Hillary as their fucking president. But the
Right.
rest of this fucking country was probably outraged just like I was.
Right.
And a majority of them also too, they probably liked Trump. But
Sure.
there was us who didn't like anyone and
No.
only voted to spite your fucking ignorant ass.
Right.
Sorry for you.
Right.
So they actually ended up fucking shooting themselves in the foot, and I'm
Right.
glad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah,
I don't mind what he's done so far. I mean,
he has
in
his,
general,
he has his strengths and weaknesses just like any other
yeah,
president.
absolutely. And I think Twitter is one of the weaknesses. I think he's emotionally immature, but I'd rather have emotionally immature than super polished. I'm not even listening to the things in front of me. Like I feel like Obama or any career politician is you could ask them any question, they're going to spin it directly and it's going to be polished like he's reading off a prompter. It's not going to be human. And in a way, I'd rather have a childish motherfucker go, no, your dick is small.
So let me,
You know?
right? Yeah, right? Let's
You
get
know?
the last word in. But let me ask you this. Let me challenge your thought on this.
Please.
You said you didn't like his Twitter. I don't think anyone did. That was a great piece of ammunition for the left or whoever the fuck to use against him.
Right.
But I'll use this as my example. He was tweeting about Kim Jong-un. He was tweeting about that North Korea situation, and I'll shit you not, it was the biggest fucking rage going. Was like, we're gonna get bombed by fucking North Korea.
I remember that.
Everyone's gonna South Korea gonna fight again, and we're gonna fucking get bombed, and it's gonna be a nuclear holocaust, and like this is gonna damn our country.
And it's all Trump's fault.
Let me just ask you this question.
Right.
Now, these were all things that were being said because of the
Right.
Twitter tweets that this guy was putting out. How is North and South Korea doing right now?
Exactly.
I'll tell you like this. They're breaking down the DMZ. That shit hasn't happened since the 50s. They shook fucking hands. North and South Korea crossing to each other's borders. Our leader fucking met with them. So things have happened since those tweets.
Right.
God knows how the fuck that happened. I don't.
Right.
But it did.
Right.
And so far, his tweets before he even became president, people are like, he's going to fuck himself. He became president. So I'm not going to say he knows what he's doing, but his tweets have ended up well in pretty much every way. I don't agree with them. But look, dude, show me results. I don't give a fuck how you do it.
Right.
Flail your arms, wear pink. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Results. And
Results.
we have had more results. We have American soldiers being sent home, POWs that are sent home, their bodies sent home from North Korea for the first time fucking since the war in the 50s.
Jesus.
Because of his tweets? I don't fucking know. All I know is he is accomplishing something there that no one has. And
Right.
everyone else ridiculed the way he was doing it.
Right.
Yet he is the first president that's actually gotten anything done there.
Yeah.
So, just maybe wait for results. Don't be screaming and yelling nuclear holocaust.
Right.
And just wait.
Right.
And I mean, it's inconvenient for people to want to wait. People want him to shut the fuck up now. But when the results a month later are that we're breaking down the DMZ and getting POWs back, North Korea, South Korea shaking hands, I don't know.
Do you think that maybe part of it goes to that idea of the structure thing, where as a community of people, we're still kind of childish and we want to hang on to that? So whoever the daddy figure is, we're going to rebel against.
Fuck yeah, absolutely. And if it's not your daddy that you wanted, it's going to be even worse.
Right.
But the thing is, I guarantee there are people that were against Obama that voted for fucking Obama. You know what I mean? That asked for that to be in office.
Right.
The father figure is always going to get that child. I mean, we've all had some sort of figure, like whether we rebelled against a teacher, a principal, we've all wanted to, rage against the machine. It is. And so again, Obama was not fucking free of it. He had his own fucking supporters against his ass. And I mean, we could have done worse. I just don't know. I mean, I shut my fucking mouth for 8 years because, he wasn't my daddy and I didn't vote for him. I didn't. But at the same time, it's like, okay, he did well in some areas. He did terribly in some areas. Just so happens, I have a more military-minded approach to voting.
Sure.
Some people have a more sexually motivated approach to voting, racially motivated approach to voting.
Right.
Mine just so happens to be military and socioeconomics. Like I don't want my money going places. I vote for where my money goes, and I have that right. I really do. You do. But at the same time, if you're an asshole and you're gonna do well with my money, I probably won't vote for you. But yeah, so anyways, I think you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Right.
And
that's as far as that goes. I don't think my personal life is any different, really. And I said this on the last podcast. I don't think it would be that much worse if Hillary was in office. You know what I mean? I don't like her. I don't trust her. We could be way worse. North Korea might not be, and the economy might not be. All that stuff, right? But my personal life is not that affected by whoever I feel like there's enough insulation around whoever the president is to protect all of us. And there's a lot of people especially in the gay community who talk like, he's trying to get rid of this and he's coming for you next, like your name's on the list. Like, no, I just think, I don't think that's really a thing. I feel like that's an emotional ploy to get you to vote the way that they want you to. And I get it. I understand he's not a polished, like he said some stupid shit, but like as an example, you said faggot on this podcast and you also talked about having a gay friend. Like get real, like language or joke or, doesn't equal. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't equal. Like if I'm a dad and I have kids and I want and we're all going out somewhere and one of my son's friends I don't like, am I gonna like punch him in the face? No, I'm gonna make sure he gets pizza too and gets a chance at the bat. That's being a good fucking daddy is like okay, not letting your feelings sway your entire. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, no, I know exactly what you mean, and I come from an era where being called gay was not like dick in the booty. It was like, it was a displeasing act that bothered you. But then I don't know if you saw those commercials that were going around like Hollywood.
Point the mic a little higher. No, it's all right.
Better? It keeps falling down.
I know. I broke it a long time ago.
Good job. Gotta break something. So there were these commercials that were going on and that was big on Hollywood, right? It was thank you.
Yeah.
It was like there'd be like these guys at a table talking and it's like stop being gay.
Oh yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And then some fucking Hollywood star would be like, hey, how would you like it if I said stop being such a prepubescent teenage boy? Basically like saying like don't use gay.
Right.
Those fucking commercials were gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not even homosexual. Like it's just gay as fuck.
It's fucking gay.
It's
right,
so
right.
Gay.
They did it with a basketball player too. I can't remember who it was, but like bunch of dudes on. I think it was the Houston, whoever the fuck they are, Rockets. Yeah, I think they were all playing basketball in this commercial, and then one guy, dude, don't fucking man, your jump shot's gay. And then one of the hey man, that's not cool. Fuck You liar. Liar. Again, I go back to the honesty. You're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Whoever did that fucking commercial. I understand you got to do it. You got to do it. But like you're telling me in the locker room, you're not finding, like you're making fun of dudes for having big dicks. You're finding anything. Nah, it's fucking gay. Like let us do what we want. Let us say what we want. Stop fucking making, just because I say gay or faggot or nigger even.
Yeah.
I don't actually believe and hate those people. Stop it, dude.
Yeah.
It's the fucking words, assholes.
Right.
God damn it. Anyway, sorry.
I know. And that's the thing, dude. You're seeing such bad things happen to people who use words so innocently, man. And there's zero context considered in this shit. None.
Zero.
You know what I mean? It's like, was he really being homophobic when he said that's gay?
Right.
Was he really being racist? You know, I've had that whole, you know, people use the N-word to describe people that are not necessarily any particular color.
Right.
I've seen a family member, of course, would never mention their names.
No.
Yeah, used the N-word once in my life, and he's not racist,
Right.
but he was calling a white guy it.
Right.
He really was, but he didn't call it to him. He just turned his back to the guy, and looked me in my face and just mouthed it like. I laughed my ass off. This is the first time
I do that with everything. When I'm driving and fucking, you know, I think some Asian guy, surprise, was coming into my lane. Like, I honestly, I could have been at fault, but at the moment I was like, this nigga, like, he's just an Asian. It's a fun. It's like saying fuck. It gets right down to the base. It just gets right down to the base. It's whatever word is the most I'm not supposed to say. That's the one I want to say. It gets the job done. It gets from point A to point B, and it's funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
And I can understand where people are getting upset about it. At the same time, context. If I am calling that lady behind the register an N-word because something is the black lady,
right?
Because something's not working out for me,
right?
That's fucking racist and hateful, man.
Yeah.
And I understand why one would be offended by that shit.
Sure.
Because there is a fucking long history behind that word.
Right.
However, if I'm there and this woman is calling me names, physically attacking me, doing whatever the fuck, spitting in my food, and then she calls me honky, cracker, whatever the fuck.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. I still wouldn't use that word. But if I did, that fucking conversation would turn south real fucking quick.
Well, here, I actually don't mind that. Say you're there, say some dude is being a childish asshole. He buys a stick of gum, doesn't think he gets the right change back, and she's like, no, I gave you the right change, and they start fighting and arguing, and he eventually calls her a nigger. Now, that's not okay. At the same time, I don't know if it's racist. Now, let me explain myself a little bit more.
Is she black? She's black.
Yes.
It doesn't matter,
if she's
though.
Black.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
You didn't call her a chink, dude.
No, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
If she's black,
yeah,
that does matter.
Yeah.
She's black. I'm not saying it's so much racist. Here's why. If a guy is being a childish asshole in that situation, I'm trying to hurt the other person's feelings. He may be wrong. He may be completely fucking childish. Again, childish, emotionally immature. It's just fucking 32 cents or something, right? Stop, right?
Yeah.
You're being a douchebag. But, like, he's trying to hurt her feelings. So if he's trying to hurt her feelings, he's trying to do that in any way he can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not, if I'm in a fight with a dude, another white guy, and we're just at a bar or something, we start fucking yelling at each other, I'm not going to call him a dumb head.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna call him a fucking faggot because I want to hurt his feelings. Now, hurting his feelings that's not a mature thing to do.
Yeah.
But all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hurt his feelings.
Right.
Like we all do that.
Right.
We all try to hurt each other's feelings. I would expect somebody to call me a bald fat fuck. You know what I mean? Like I would expect somebody, to like try to whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's racist as much unless the dude is actually racist.
Right, because you're considering context. And the context is I'm trying to fucking fire off the biggest possible missiles I can to fucking take you down. I get it. Yeah, I get it. That's context.
Right.
So, did you mean it? Racially? No. But will it be taken that way? Yes, because that person is black. Right. And you just called him a nigger.
Right.
That's just the way it goes. It's racial, and again, there's a history behind it. I get it. Do I agree with how people are taking it? No. However, there's also the argument. It's like you're fucking white, dude. Like, what do you know about it? The answer is nothing.
Right.
Because I've never been called that racially motivated wise.
Okay.
And, maybe most people have. It's not a conversation. Like, I've walked up to black people and be like, my black friend, has anyone ever called you? Chances are probably.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I got called, oh, dude, I was in a parking lot of a, I was the best. I just got out of the military, and I was driving, I had a Monte Carlo Super Sport, and I was driving to the post office, and I accidentally turned the wrong way down the parking lot, and this fucking old white man, it's like, just walks by me and yells in front of fucking everybody, "You're driving down the wrong side, you fucking wetback." I slammed my brakes, bro. I wasn't even mad. I was laughing. I was laughing so fucking hard.
That's great.
I had to stop and cry real quick and just laugh you know what I mean? So, like, if someone ever called me, like, angrily called me, I would laugh, dude. I'm sorry. Personally, that's just my response. If someone called me a nigger, I would laugh. Like, God damn, like, how do I even rebuttal?
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, it's context. I get it. Like, you're frustrated and you just fucking called me
something.
It's a racial thing that has zero to do.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is, I've had this conversation with a couple of my black friends, dude, and they will be the first to tell you they understand the difference between a nigger and a black person. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee, I haven't listened to a lot of your podcasts, but I guarantee this has come up. Yeah. The difference between a nigger and a black person, it is a thing.
But I wouldn't even label a nigga. Like, here's the thing.
Nigga and nigger is different, though.
Well, we're right. But I understand the context of that joke. With that, I think it was Chris Rock. I think it was Chris Rock. And what it's pretty much saying is, like, there's shitty people who are black, and there's shitty people who are white, and there's great people who are black, and great people who are white, and all in between. But I'm saying, like, I could even love that Asian dude who cut into my lane, like, but I'm just calling him a nigger because it has nothing to do with him as a person, even, or a judgment on his character at all.
It was a frustration. It's a frustrated event.
Right. Yeah. It was just like something to say. It's just, and the thing is that in that context, in the right context, if you're really hurt by words, even though it's the right context and it's not a racist context, I feel like there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? And I know, like, there's a lot of history to the, whatever. But, like, I mean, come on. You feel me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Patrice used to say, like, can't you just feel like what I'm saying? You feel me, right? I mean, come on. Like,
But there's people that don't want to, they just don't, they refuse to admit it. They refuse to embrace reality, because they're so set on turning actual reality into their reality. They want their perception on things to become actual reality. You know what I mean? And I strongly disagree with the idea that perception is reality. Someone's own reality in their mind is not actual reality all the time. Up is down. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I have known things were true until I saw them for myself. That they were not. Right. You know what I mean? But my reality said, you get what I mean? Yeah. And that's the thing is there's some people that just refuse to fucking agree with that. Right. But the thing is those people are also necessary, man. I mean, these people who are way, way too fucking sensitive about shit, they've gotten a lot accomplished. I mean, these people that are fucking, these PETA people, I don't agree with how far they're fucking going. Sure. But dude, I think it's awesome how many fucking rights animals have fucking gotten since these people got involved. Do I think they're fucking batshit crazy? Fuck yeah, I do. But they've done amazing things for animal rights. Right. Fuck you, I'm eating my meat. Right. Shut the fuck up. Right. You know what I mean? Right. I get rich enough, I'll be slanging meat coats. I'm just kidding. But you get what I'm saying? Like, like, to a certain extent, like, these crazy ass fucking oversensitive morons that makes sense. Have gotten a lot accomplished for us, man. I mean, there's got to be someone out there that cares about the environment too much. And then there's got to be the people that don't care enough. And there's got to be people who vote with a military mind. Yeah, exactly. There's got to be those people that say, no, war's bad. And then there's got to be people that say, bro, we got slapped. We got to fucking fight back. I mean, there has to be both sides. So that's why I do respect the Democratic vote, man. I do respect the Republican vote. I respect the vote, period, because again, there has to be a far left, there has to be a far right, there has to be a median. I wish there was a lot more medium. Yeah. I really do. Where I live, that's not your reality. I had a girl stop talking to me as soon as Trump became president. She knew Clinton was going to win. I knew Clinton was going to win where we live. That's just reality. Sure, it was reality now, homie. Right. So the day that Trump fucking became president, she stopped talking to me for 2 days. Wow. And when she finally came out of her little fucking temper tantrum, she explained to me that she'd been crying for 2 days straight.
Jesus Christ.
I know. I definitely. I don't know what I expected from a girl that went to University of Oregon, who's had her entire life taken care of by rich parents who were also Republican, by the way. Gave her everything for free. Of course, she was a Bernie Sanders supporter because everybody should have everything for free.
Right.
Not everybody's got a millionaire dad and mom. This
Right.
doesn't. Yeah. So her reality was a different thing, but she didn't respect my perspective.
Right.
But it turned out the only reason she respected my perspective is because it wasn't her reality. But once reality set the fuck in, she cried for 2 days and then came out of it and realized she couldn't be with someone who actually voted for Trump. She didn't care 2 months before. You know what I mean? So, that dwindled off real quick.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. There's people that are out there that they don't have respect for the left or the right. She had no respect for me and my vote. As far as she was concerned, I was the reason Trump is president.
Well, and what sucks too, and I want to. I mean, it's.
I'm doing fine
10
until you're ready.
You're okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Because I want to talk more about the military thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is a great conversation in general. So fuck it. I really dislike that everybody, even in the center of left, even more, like even moderates are being conflated with, like, everybody on the right is getting called a Republican or getting called alt-right. Anytime there's like a demonstration by like piece of shit Nazis or racists or whatever, like KKK members, there's apparently all of a sudden there's like what the media is doing is calling them a right-wing demonstration. It's like, whoa.
Right.
Call it what it is. Don't call it a right-wing demonstration. No. I'm I'm conservative-ish, but like, I'm not a racist piece of shit. Like, don't call us all one thing. I don't call Barack Obama Antifa. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like, don't call that. But they just want to make it all one big. So even if you're not all the way with us, like, just it's so frustrating that they're doing that.
It really fucking is. But the thing is and we want this is a whole nother fucking podcast. I can't wait to hear you guys talk about this. But it's the media, dude. It's the media doing all this shit.
Yes, it is.
And there's people that are falling for it. I don't fall for it. I make fun of my friend. He's a lefty.
Right.
He was military lefty, which is few and far between. Yeah, and a combatant too. Like this dude, he's been through his tours. He just become left. And that's cool. I respect it. I love the guy.
Right.
No less. But I call him Antifa. I'm like, look at your buddies, and he's he'll come back with the whole thing too. I'm like alt right or whatever. But I love the guy. We both respect each other sides. We get in heated ass fucking debates.
Sure.
But I mean, we gave each other the opportunity to get to know each other outside of politics, which I don't think people are doing anymore. I think people are asking, what side are you on? And then as soon as you say you're left or right, you're automatically, excommunicated for whatever fucking reason. I personally, I'm right, but.
Right.
I never ever fucking push someone out for their perspective on who they voted for. Now, when they start saying that they fucking voted for this person because XYZ Looney Tunes fucking bullshit nonsense retardation, that's when I start judging you.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you find out I voted for Trump, and I did not, but if I did vote for Trump because, oh man, I hate bitches, I hate minorities, and I want white to rule the world again.
Right.
Like, yeah, dude.
Right.
Go away.
Exactly. Those two both exist.
But
two
the
things
thing
can
is that's what
exist at the
people are
same
starting
time.
to think that's what it is. You have a bunch of alt-right people vote. No. Yes, okay, guarantee a majority of the fucking alt-right voted for, but I guarantee a majority of the Black Panthers didn't vote for fucking, Trump. So you got racists on both sides.
Right.
And good. I'm not one of them on either side.
And there's such a dumbing down and such a stupidity going on where people literally think, and this was happening even back in 2008. I was with this woman I absolutely hated. But when Obama went over Hillary for the Democratic primary, she was like, see, this is just an example that America hates women more than it does black men. It's like, whoa.
Wait a...
If you extrapolate that logic, so let's take a different example. There aren't enough people watching Moonlight or something. Remember that black movie from, I think it was last year?
I heard about it, yeah.
There aren't enough people watching some black movie, right? There aren't enough people respecting this black movie. Okay, when I went to see 8 Mile, when I went to see Revenant, have you seen Revenant?
No, I know you're talking about that.
Fucking great movie. Got to see it.
Right.
When I went to see Revenant, it didn't have anything to do with his whiteness. It was just a movie about a dude. You know, it looked cool, and there was a bear, and there's, you know, it was just like,
oh yeah, Revenant with
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Fuck yeah,
yeah, it was a great fucking.
Yeah, it really
flick,
was.
man.
Even though there's like no music in the background, it's just like
Right.
dead silent. Yeah,
Right.
It's him
That's-
crawling around in the snow. It's like,
Right,
yeah, this
that's
is
like
great.
that's a dude
Man,
movie.
shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a fucking revenge.
Yeah.
Like, great movie. Anyway, it had literally nothing to do. Right. So like,
It was based on a
effectively
true
you're
story
saying,
of a white man who, you know.
right. So you're saying if you extrapolate that logic, I went to see that movie. Like, if I went to see that movie over Medea's Family Christmas,
Because they were. Hey,
then I'm
don't
racist?
badmouth that blockbuster.
Are you serious?
No,
Right.
I'm just kidding.
And by the
I
way,
never
all
saw
the
Medea's Family anything.
right, exactly.
Just so
And
it's
most leftists haven't, by the way.
Yeah.
Most leftists who are like racial equality,
Yeah.
they would feel so out of place at a fucking barbecue. They would feel so out of place at a black cookout. You fucking, with your fucking purple hair and your transgender fucking half puss, half dick. Stop fucking lying.
Yeah.
And not just that. I know black people who don't like that gay shit. You know what I mean? In 2008, who was the main reason why Prop 8 didn't go through in California? Black people.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the thing is that there's this idea on the left that like, well, if I'm for them, then they're for my stuff. Once they find out they're not, now where's your principles, baby girl? You really think you with the purple hair and you with your transgender whatever
They think
are going to
they're
be?
just- They
I mean,
think they're
come
just
on.
as goofy as we do.
What?
These people running around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you know, live and let live, baby. Whatever you want.
Exactly.
I don't really give a shit. But stay the fuck out of me and my fucking politics. Don't dress like that and then come around disrespecting me.
Right.
Because you're just asking fucking for it.
Right.
You're making a public spectacle of yourself while being a public spectacle.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
like
a double
pushing.
fucking negative, man. I don't.
Right.
You know.
It's like pushing for homophobia by being super, super over the top right in my face. It was. I mean, I absolutely adore the gay community. I fucking done all kinds of volunteering for them. I have gay family members. It's all fucking good. I love drag queens. Blah blah blah. But I was looking at this picture once, this Pride picture of Pride, and like, don't bring your kids to Pride. Like, don't. Here's part of the
there's
reason.
balls and shit hanging out.
Yeah,
Face level.
This dude was wearing no shirt and wearing these super tight rainbow, and like his bulge is hanging out, and he's taking a picture next to a kid. I'm just like, there's something wrong with that. Like, I wouldn't want girls to take their titties out, and I have nothing wrong with I fucking adore titties, but like, there's something to like, hey, like these are kids. Like,
Right.
you know, I'm all for Pride.
I'm pretty sure that's like sexual assault or something. I don't know. There's something. There's got to be a rule against being naked around kids you don't know.
Right.
I think. Shouldn't there be?
I think there already is. I'm pretty sure there already is. I don't know. Let's
you know,
go
I'm
find
gonna
out.
go. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the fucking playground over here and get buck naked.
Right.
Be like, nah, this was okay at Folsom Street Festival.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
But anyway.
they know what they're walking into over there.
Yeah,
I guess,
Folsom's one thing, but like, you want to represent, okay, yeah, rock and roll for gay pride, but I'm saying like, have some, you know, I mean, I'm not saying decency in the realm of
yeah, but
religion.
you bring your kid.
I'm
you
saying
bring your
decency.
kid, that's
like,
your fault. You're bringing the kid, dude. You can't
Right.
be going to these things. You have to expect something like that to be there.
Right.
You know,
Or
shame
like,
on
hey-
you for bringing the kid.
Right, or hey-
you know, good for you for bringing the kid. I don't
Right.
fucking know. However, which way you go
Or
with
let's
it.
celebrate in our own way. We'll go to the mall like we always do on a Saturday, but we'll wear rainbow colors, whatever.
Right.
We don't have to go to the parade, but like, I mean,
But
be
what
real.
part about being gay is dick out of my pants? I don't. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not that close to the gay community. Maybe it's a thing, but
Yeah.
it just does.
Little
Does
bit.
that define you? Just rainbow pants and dick hanging out? Like, is that I from the gay people that I know? No, you know, they're just
it's more
people that
about-
like to have sex with different people than I do.
Right.
So good
It's-
for you in that.
Right.
But at the same time, like I personally, I've had this discussion with a gay friend of mine, and I said, "What do you think about these people?" And his words verbatim were, "They're not my cup of tea." I'm like, can you fucking elaborate, dude? I need more ammunition than this shit. I need to know where
Right.
your community, if you meet this guy, he dresses like, very nicely dressed, less homo than Mike.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he's, he has a little bit of a gay twang to him,
Right.
but he likes guys a little bit more flamboyant than he is,
Mm-hmm.
but he said those people, not his cup of tea. He doesn't dislike it. He doesn't like it. He's just not like that.
Right.
And he wouldn't say whether or not he was appreciative of them and what they're doing in public
Right.
or not.
Right.
I don't know what that means,
Right.
but
I mean,
I'm straight. So does that mean I should like run around the Union Street Festival with my dick out because I'm a straight guy? No,
Right.
there'll be a lot of Me Too's and the cops will get called.
Right.
So when's it okay? I don't know.
Right.
I'm not trying to find out either, brother.
I know, right?
Nope.
So when did you get out of the military?
I got out in '04.
And what was the? Was it like, okay, I did my service? Did you get to finally do the jumping out of planes and shooting at things?
Yeah. So we didn't.
Good for you, man.
We didn't have shit. I got to my unit. I went to basic. I went to infantry school. I went to airborne school. I got to my unit and was deployed within like 3 weeks. I didn't even know the name of everybody in my platoon yet.
Nice.
I was brand fucking new, as they call it, cherry. Yeah. So I went through all that and did my time, and then I got out. I was fucking confused.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What was confusing?
Well, just
about?
because you leave the military, you're told when to wake up, when to do this. Everyone gives a fuck about you. Everyone squares you away every day, because if there's one weak link, the whole fucking chain breaks, that whole thing. So it behooved everybody to make sure that every single person was all squared the fuck away, and that nobody was had. Everything was squared away all the time. So everyone was constantly looking out for everyone. Everyone was constantly helping each other. And, there was no one sleeping in. No one was being ignored.
Right. Hey, tie that shoe.
Yeah, and if you're not somewhere you're supposed to be, there was 20 fucking people down your fucking throat.
Right.
Everyone cared, because it reflected on everybody.
Right.
And so it was a culture. And then on top of that, everyone cared. Everyone respected each other. There was no race. You know what I mean? There's
right.
Everyone was just a brotherhood. I heard someone say it's like there's no race in the military because everyone's treated like an N-word.
Right.
They are,
like
dude.
Right,
and I
right.
mean, we're all treated like shit, and we're all treated like shit together, and we formed that bond.
Right.
So, I got out, and it was like, no one gives a fuck about you anymore. No one's going to tell you where to go. No one's going to push you to go to this school or that school.
Right.
No one's going to tell you to go to this country and do this. Like, you don't have any orders to follow but your own, which is beautiful. Beautiful. It's something you have to go and appreciate. But I joined at 20. I got out at 24. So I really kind of already knew what life was about before I went in. So when I got out, I had a ground to hit running. But at the same time, the military is very, very, very much forced down your throat. So I had to break some of those molds while keeping some of the ones I still am and was a reflection of my unit. So I refused to fucking get fat.
Right.
I don't need someone running around and be like, so this is what people look like when they get out, huh? No, I'll let the Air Force do that. So So anyways, I got out, and then it was like, it took me a minute to motivate myself, but shit, I got out within a month. I had 2 jobs, and I was going to 2 different schools. Okay. And it took me, about a year before I fell into my career that I'm currently in. And that was, I got out in 2004. I got in my company in 2005. Been there ever since. I fucking love every day of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And being in the military got me in.
Oh,
yeah. The fraternity that is the military.
Right.
You do get preferential treatment because you're in the military, but it's something you kind of volunteer to do. You know what I mean? You volunteer to do. So people that get preferential treatment for, as we were discussing, race or sex. I don't really. Anyways, but I volunteered to go do this and go through that so that I could get a beautiful resume. That's kind of a big reason. I got money for school. I got a resume. And it looks good coming from a good unit like that, and going to war and shit like that. It shows that you can stick through some shit and deal with pressure and all that stuff, So the guy that was that my resume or application came across, the desk of was prior service, and he's like, "Get this guy in here." And he told me, he goes, "Dude, you have zero background in what we are doing here."
Right.
He goes, "But I was in this unit, and I really respect this unit."
Right.
He goes, "I got to get you in here."
So it wasn't. Would it have been the same if he was a Marine?
Oh fuck yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, military takes. I had a buddy that got out of the 82nd, and he just got put under the wing, or he had gotten put under the wing of a guy at Google, who was prior service Marines, and he was contracting. He was contracting to Google, and this guy got him out of contracting and into Google, which is like really hard. I didn't know how much contracting Google actually did.
Right.
Rather than their actual workers, but because my buddy went through what he went through and was with the unit he was with, even though he was in a different branch, he grabbed him and cleaned him out just because of his military background.
Great.
So I make fun of Air Force. I make fun of Navy. We all make fun of each other.
Sure.
It's all in good fun. It's
right.
brothers and sisters. And
Same
shit.
thing with making fun of the guy for big dick.
Yeah, right. That's what it is. And
there's
there's all respect. It's all part of it. I can't tell you how many times Close Air Support came in with those Air Force guys, swinging their dicks above us in their air. Right. We need that. Right. Needless to say, I can't fly a fucking plane.
Right. So when was the first time you jumped out of one?
So Basic was how long it was. Infantry school was ever how long it was. And then when I got to my from there we go to airborne school, and you spend 2 weeks. The first week you're just basically learning to fall.
Jesus.
Yeah, because the equivalent when you jump out of these planes is between 800 and 1400 feet, and you hit the ground. It's not like skydiving. Like I skydive as well, man. It's fun. You land on the ground like bloop bloop. You know.
Right.
They're these fucking big giant chutes that are meant to get you to the ground quick, which is why you're getting dropped at 1400 feet, right?
Jesus.
And you hit the ground at the equivalent of jumping out of a 2-story building. So you have to learn to use the force or the wind to put you down at an angle, and then you have to learn to hit the ground and roll. It's called a PLF, parachute land and fall, and we have to learn to do that for an entire week before they even throw you out of the plane. And then this was it 3 weeks? Fuck, dude, it was 3 weeks. Yeah, I don't remember. But it was the third week. All we did was jump out of planes the entire time.
So what's the normal height that you jump from when you're skydiving?
Okay, when I skydive, it's between 1,300 and 1,800 feet.
So you're doing 800 to 1,400? What is
800
it?
800 to 1,400. It was like 1,300, 1,400 in airborne school. But once you get to your unit, they really drop it down. You know, they make it more combat, realistic. But you know, you fall. It's a static line too. You're not pulling your own chute, so you fall for like 4 seconds.
Right.
You have time to like check your canopy. You know, check the wind. You know, we had a majority of our jumps in unit at night, and you know, you check the horizon, see which direction the wind's blowing you, so you know which way to pull your risers. You cut loose your equipment because it's attached to a lanyard, so it hits first, so it takes some of the weight off of you, and it's over before it starts, man.
How hard is it? Have you? Would you get your equipment lost?
So it never happened to me, but I was put on a detail out in the woods because there was a lot of war going on at the time. So you know, we had just gotten back from the war, and so you know, we rotate in 6 months on, 6 months off kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Until they become 12 to 18 month tours. That happened after I got out.
Okay.
But they would put us out on the outside of the drop zone, and we'd have to watch for people falling into the trees. Now, we were taught during our 3 weeks in airborne school how to get out of trees if you do go into the trees. You know, you get stuck in these trees, and they're big, you know, they're the woods. So you're stuck, and then you let go, you pull your reserve, and you lower your reserve down, and you climb out of your harness, and you climb down the ropes or the lines of your reserve to the ground. But then someone has to go and like get these fucking things out of the tree. Jeez. So that was part of the detail, and we had these reserve pilots who are not as good as our normal pilots. So like these guys were dropping fucking paratroopers into trees all fucking night.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't have a whole lot of control of where you're going.
No.
Okay.
The only thing you have control of is the direction in which you fall.
I see.
And you want, like I said, you want to land at an angle.
Right.
Because you land 2 stories flap down, your head's going to be touching your ankles. It's going to be touching your ass. It's going to be touching your tits.
How many times did dudes pass away doing it?
Oh no! I mean, they have, but that's generally
not during training.
Not during training. It's. I guarantee it's happened. It didn't happen like it's called a cigarette roll when your chute comes out and it doesn't completely deploy.
Oh, fuck.
But you have a couple seconds. If you don't feel that pop at 4 seconds, you got to pull your reserve. So that happened in airborne school. Someone had a cigarette roll and he pulled his reserve, and that reserve saved his life or whatever.
Wow.
But we're trained pretty well. The equipment's pretty strong. You know, there's no showboating and stuff. But there was no deaths there, and then we didn't have any combat jumps, so we didn't jump into combat zones. We did a majority of our missions in Chinooks and Blackhawks, stuff, helicopters and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
so you would jump out of helicopters?
So they would call like weekend fun jumps, and they would parachute out, but we would be dropped off in helicopters. These Chinooks. Okay. So we did jump out of helicopters. Like, okay. There are Blackhawk and Chinook jumps. There's a couple extra seconds of free fall for that, you know, but they would be weekend things, or whatever. Yeah.
The fun jump.
Yeah. It was mandatory fun jump. Right.
Okay.
So, but on like I said, on the missions in like say Afghanistan, we would be flown out to these places and dropped off. It's like we were getting out of these planes, these birds, onto the ground. We weren't jumping out and parachuting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it harder to land in woods during training, or was it harder to land just specifically?
No, it's never easy to land in woods. You don't want to land in woods. When you land in woods, you're getting stuck in the tree. You don't want that. That's not on purpose. They were just missing the landing zone when
I see.
That was not good. They just expecting us to do it. The landing zone is big enough, but these pilots aren't seasoned.
Right.
So,
So the sand,
there was a mistake.
the sand of Afghanistan was easier for your feet to land on.
Well, again, we didn't jump in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
we zero combat jumps. We didn't. 82nd Airborne had zero combat jumps in Iraq or Afghanistan. I believe 173rd from Vicenza, Italy, had a combat jump in Iraq. Our Ranger battalions and Green Berets had a combat jump into Afghanistan on the initial invasion.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I know. You know what I mean? This is what has been made, privy to the press.
Okay.
But the rest of it, I don't know. But right. I know while I was in, I had no jumps into a combat zone. We were delivered via helicopter every time. Yeah,
okay.
Not so much trucks in Afghanistan. You can't drive there. It's pretty mountainous.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Or there's IEDs near the roads. And
when I was there, there wasn't a lot. There was a lot of landmines. But then once we got to areas, like we would tend to get chinooked in or dropped off in a place that was quote unquote safer, and we would walk days to where we were going in a route that we had planned. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But then we get to areas that we had to do observation points from where we were, so we'd have a couple guys break off in any direction, and we'd have to walk for a while, and we had to do it through minefields, like heavily mined. I think Afghanistan is one of the most heavily mined countries in the world.
Who the fuck did that?
That was a whole. I think that was a whole like
leftover from '90s.
Yeah, the Soviet era shit.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was fun walking through those fucking fields. Yeah.
Now, okay, so you weren't there when Saddam was taken down.
So that was in 2002, and then I'd gotten back, and then 2003 happened, and they had the
2003 was Saddam. No,
2003 was Saddam.
2003 was
2003 was
Saddam.
Saddam. That was initial invasion in Iraq. The people across the street from us, I was 505. They were 325. They went in, like they got on a bird in civilian clothes when they went into Kuwait, and then they got off, and they were part of that initial invasion. Initial invasion was all sides. There was not the army. There was not the Marines. There was other countries, other units, other branches. And they all came in from all sides and stuff. Right. So that happened when we had just gotten back. Well, we had been back for a couple of months, and then I ended up getting surgery on my knee. I had fucked up my knee. Whole nother story we don't need to get into. But yeah, so I was in a hospital bed when I had visitors from my platoon. They're like, dude, we just got a call up to go to Iraq. And I was fucking in a hospital bed. My next step from hospital bed was in a fucking wheelchair. So that was painful to see my boys leave. And then slowly but surely, like I was getting processed out. They fucked up my knee surgery. I got medically discharged. They had person after person coming back, with this thing shot and that thing shot and then this dead guy. And it was like, fuck, dude. I slowly but surely regretted not being there with them. I thought they were gonna the war's got to be over pretty soon. And I didn't, of course.
Right.
That only progressed.
Right.
As time went on. But
So
there was that short period of time where between the topple of the Saddam regime before the guerrillas came in and started doing their thing. There's a couple years. There was a couple years of quiet time.
Okay, before the ISIS started.
Oh no, ISIS is way further down the line.
Okay.
ISIS happened 2014.
Same guerrillas though? Same.
Yeah, different. The first group of guerrillas were loyalists, like people that were loyal to Saddam, and then there was way more to it than I actually know. But they were guerrillas. They were people that didn't want the Westerners there anymore.
Right.
The people whose the honeymoon was over. Thank you very much for toppling us. Get the fuck out. No, you're not gone. So then we're gonna fight you. Then there was the people that actually wanted Saddam in, and they were fighting the troops too. So they were getting hit from all sides again. The Sunni Shias, and then on top of that, Sunni Shia were fighting each other, and the Westerners weren't welcome anymore. But then you can't go into a country and then not stabilize it. So we were still there, being like, "Yo, we need a democracy," and then it just all went south. They didn't want it. We tried to force it on them.
Are you willing to go into a little bit of that? Like, obviously you're not anonymous, but do you agree that we should have tried to put democracy there?
Yeah, look, I think democracy. I know democracy is a great thing. It's a beautiful thing, especially a democratic republic like we have. Everybody has a voice. Nobody has the power so much, but see, the thing is in theory, democracy would be great. But these people they're not willing to cut out religion. They will not include a government without the religious factor being there. And when you do that, it's all about Sunni and Shia to them. So there's never going to be a time, you're going to have these people will vote for these people. These people that vote for these people. I think personally, the best way to do it that fucking country is give Sunni their area, give the Shia their fucking area. And then, you got to give the Kurds their area, but that's easier fucking said than done,
Right.
But there's no way Sunni and Shia will ever fucking get along. I don't give a fuck what government until they agree who the fuck Allah is or whatever the fuck their problem is.
Right.
They're always going to beef with each other. It's
They
just
have
way
the
to go.
same Allah, though, don't
Nah,
they?
so there's some. I don't know the whole detail behind it. I knew for a while, and I've kind of cut a lot of this out of my mind, to be honest with you. But I guess Allah had a brother or something, and they argued about who the brother was or some shit. There's going to be someone listening to this be like, this idiot.
Right,
but it's something close to that.
whatever.
One person believes that someone was the
Muhammad's brother.
yeah.
was
So they were the guy that took over.
I see.
But there is a sect, the Sunni, and there is a sect, the Shia, and they do not fucking agree with something about their own fucking religion, which at the end of the day is the same fucking religion. Like, it'd be like me beefing with a Christian.
It's like Protestants and Catholics
Ish.
in talk when they fought in Ireland for so long, right?
Yeah, but that was land and stuff too, and that's what it all comes down to. I think too is land, religion.
Right.
Yeah, goofy shit, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So do I think that they could benefit from democracy? Absolutely. Would they be accepting of it as long as their religion is doing what it's doing? No, they will not.
Right.
So, but the thing is then I'll tell you like this. I'll tell you what does work for those areas. Saddam Hussein's, Gaddafi's. Unfortunately, someone that's going to rule with violence. But then you get things like Saddam gassing the Kurds. That was unfucking called for. The Kurds are good people, man. They're the least freaking oppressive group of Muslims that you're gonna have. They don't do the stoning, the this, the that. They're so modernized, man. You go over there, they look like a European country. Like the way they dress, the way they act. You know what I mean?
Right.
The women dress normal, quote unquote normal. They don't. Women have rights over there and shit.
Right.
But then you leave that area and it's boom, and it's unreal.
Wow.
The difference. So the thing is you when you have dictators, you also have bad things that come with it. Like they'll gas people that do not agree with your religion.
Right.
So,
or that shit that that just happened with that guy that God damn it. Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just motherfuckers just literally I guess apparently no, that's a different story. So someone I saw this crazy story that someone was injecting somebody with cocaine. Oh no, that was a Whitey Bulger. But anyway, so they literally hacked this guy up. The
Turkish
yeah.
they strangled them.
Journalist.
Yeah, they strangled him. From what they say, I'm speaking like it's factual, but from what they say, he was strangled and then cut into pieces. But there's no proof.
Right.
I don't think there's any proof. That's just kind of word of mouth right now.
Right. And then his son, the guy who got murdered's son, had to shake hands with the prince who may have fucking set it up.
Right. But see, that's another perfect example. Like they're a more modern culture. Like Iran used to be pretty modernized in the 70s. You see pictures of that fucking country back before the Ayatollah got involved.
Doctors and fucking girls being everybody,
They look like the 70s. It looked like the 70s
exactly,
here. Right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, but then again, you introduce fucking religion, it's back to the Stone Age with you.
Right.
And that's where, see, Saudi Arabia is, I feel like, one fucking stone's throw away from going in that direction. But they have religion involved in their government. So anytime you have that, you're going to have some fucked up shit happen. I mean, it's just, I'm not going to say statistically speaking, but look at the Middle East.
Right.
It's in fucking shambles, man.
Right.
I mean, I'd like to even give Jordan the benefit of the doubt from before I understand. They're still not free of any kind of fucking quarrels.
Right.
So
right. It sounds like from in that whole region that the two main, I guess, Kurdistan is
Kurdistan is a region. It's not a country. The Kurds call it their country, but it's still not recognized.
How big is it?
Fuck, I don't know. If you Google Kurdistan, it will show you a section that's taken up again of those four cornered countries: Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey.
Okay.
So I don't know how big it is, but it's not big. I mean, it looks like it's about the size of half of Iraq, I guess. But it's, again, encompassing corners of all 4 of those countries.
But it's not like San Francisco size. It's like it's
San Francisco's 7x7, man. Fuck no, it's a country size. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's expansive. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, because it sounds like Kurdistan and not Jerusalem. What's the name of the country? Israel. Are really.
Are you talking about Pakistan and Israel?
No. Are countries that are more modernized.
Yeah.
Like legit, like you know.
Yeah, but Israel's not. It's the Middle East, but it's not. You know.
I see.
I mean.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't.
Right.
You know. I don't know.
How was your relations with I mean, I guess you said the Kurds were pretty welcoming and stuff.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But
we lived on their base.
Your relations with Muslims in general over there were pretty.
I mean,
I guess everyone in that area is Muslim.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kurds are Muslim. They have Christian areas. I mean, of them. I mean, that's the only place it would during this time of destabilization. Every Middle Eastern country right now that is short a dictator or short a ruler, they've used that time to fucking topple Christian areas. There's been genocide going on like no one's business. They don't cover that, you know. But
of Christians.
Christians, yeah. There's been a Christian movement out of these areas because of, you know, oh look, there's no one to fucking tie our hands down. Let's get rid of these fucking, you know, these horrible Christian people who, you know, infidels who don't agree with us and our religion.
Right.
There's still sections of areas that were Christian and are Christian in Kurdistan because you're more welcome to a different idea over there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the majority of the people we met were Muslims. You know, they'd have goatees. You know, they dress how they wanted to dress. The women dress how they were. Again, very welcoming of us. They let us live on their base. Like they fed us. You know, they took us out with them. You know, they loved us. They loved us, man. They and plus they appreciated what we were doing. They knew we were leaving. We were leaving our countries to. We got paid zero. We went over there to volunteer. I mean, they gave us a place to sleep. They gave us weapons and ammunition, and they gave us food, and that was it. And they just appreciated what we left behind to come help them do.
Right.
You know. So they were very welcoming of us. I couldn't have gone and done that anywhere else in the fucking country. You know,
do you know why, I guess, Russia and those, like the other side of things, it doesn't want Kurdistan to be legit?
I mean, so Russia's helping Turkey. Turkey doesn't like ISIS or the Kurds, but they'll still help ISIS fight the Kurds. It's just none of it makes sense. And this is in Syria, okay? And then the West is actually, they were giving weapons to the Kurds. And not even just our country, it was, you know, Germany and everywhere else. It does, dude. It's this political game, and see, that's the thing is since I have left there, I've left with a peace of mind like I did not have ever. Right. It's just like holy shit. I got to fight. You know, I got to be with the Iraqis. I got to be with the Kurds, and I got to see how fucked up things are there and how political it is. Now, when you're in the United States military, you see what you see when you're battling what you're battling, but you're not really exposed to the actual culture so much as the position that I was in where I'm living amongst them, operating amongst them.
Right.
Way different. You just realize how far gone they are and how fucked up it is there. And you're just like, dude, you know, if everybody were like the Kurds, we'd have ourselves a fucking fighting chance, but they're not.
Right.
So
when you went there as a specialist, it was a
when I went
not a
there
specialist. I'm sorry,
as a volunteer, we'll call it.
Okay.
Right?
When you went there as a volunteer, it was a completely different. Yeah. Obviously, it was 10 years difference or whatever, right? Or from when you had gotten out.
Yeah, and then on top of that, but by that time, so I went over there in 2018. I went over there in 2016.
Okay.
And then I went over there in 2015 or something. So what happened in 2014? I was over there in 2015. So whatever it was, dude.
So it was 11-year difference, and you were 11 years older.
I was 11 years older, and the military wasn't operating in the entire country. So the military didn't have all that ground that they had covered. It was ISIS's at that point. So now Iraq's ISIS's.
So did you feel more vulnerable?
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean,
fuck.
You know, we didn't have the air support that we had. We didn't have medevacs like we had. You know what I mean? If I got shot in the middle of nowhere, bye. You know what I mean? Like they'd throw me on a truck and rush me back. But in the military, you get hurt in the middle of fucking nowhere. I don't give a fuck where in Afghanistan we were. Mountains in the middle of nowhere. You know, 20 minutes a fucking helicopter would show up to haul your ass off, and next thing you know, you're at fucking an Air Force base in Germany getting the best surgery that you could possibly get for that thing.
Right.
Happens in Iraq, fuck, dude. You might get a Hilux thrown in the back of a truck, and driven to the rear. And I don't know, man. Shit. And who knows who's going to be operating on you. Not to mention, if you're pinned the fuck down anywhere else, we could call for what we call CAS or close air support. Right. We could just lay there, fucking, make a fucking radio call, and next thing you know, we got warthogs over the top of us, laying waste to everything around us.
Right.
That was not happening over there.
Right.
We weren't put in any positions where we needed them, but it's always nice to have.
Right.
So yeah, we were very fucking vulnerable. We were fighting with a third world country. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. Needless to say, they didn't have the tactics or the skills we had either. So.
Do they have internet? They have internet.
Yeah, they had internet when we were on the base. But then
no, I mean the Kurds or the
the Kurds had
or Turkey for that matter.
Yeah, but like so everything's super rural. Once you leave the cities, there's no internet in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? They had radio communication, but they didn't have helicopters. There were no helicopters.
So is it intentional, like with North Korea, where they have 31 websites in North Korea or something like that? Is it intentional from the government down, keeping everybody insulated and like this religion is the only way and we've got it and we're gonna whether it be Saddam or whatever, where like because part of the reason why China's really fucked up, obviously, in its own way, but culturally they really are opening up a little bit because they're embracing Western culture.
Right.
They love Britney Spears and they love Coca-Cola, and they love when a black guy goes over there, they're like they touch his skin, oh Kobe, Kobe, you're Kobe.
Right.
So like the internet alone, even though it's very closely monitored by Chinese people, by the Chinese government, is opening. Culture-wise, is it possible for that same thing to happen over there?
Oh, see, okay, so because I contacted everybody back home, I used Facebook and Instagram when I was there. So yes, the Kurds had open internet. The rest of the country, I'd imagine they would. I don't know. When we left our area of Kurdistan to go into these other areas of Iraq, we weren't on the internet. And we weren't in anywhere that we could just go up to the fucking community leader and be like, hey, let me get that Wi-Fi passcode. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So I imagine the Middle East is for the most part. Right. But you know what though? ISIS was able to do recruiting from the West, so I imagine they had the ability. So process of elimination would probably go ahead and put me out with the fact that they had the reach to us.
For me, maybe this is oversimplifying it, but I just feel like fear is an incredible motivator. Fear is the motivator.
Fear from violence.
And fear really on a gut level, I feel like a lot of these ISIS guys, they really do believe that there is only one and we do have to take it down because their God's too small. When your God's too fucking small, even over here, like or Protestant versus Catholics, like when your God's that small and you have to fight over minutia or fight over a book, your God's not goddamn big enough. Right. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't have to have a name on my religion or a name on this or fucking eat, don't eat fucking fish or don't, or make sure you don't work on Saturday. I just feel like that's a bunch of God's too small bullshit.
It is, and that's the thing is their God was too big for its own shoes, and then that wasn't big enough. Then they would come in and they stopped. You couldn't smoke, you couldn't drink, no music. These are things that get your fucking head chopped off. You know what I mean? So, but it's a caliphate. It's all controlling. But the thing is that there's so many
caliphate, meaning it's government and religion mixed.
Well,
is that what that is?
The caliphate was ISIS's idea of basically turning. It was the Third Reich of their. It was their Third Reich. It was They were going to take over the world and instill their point of view and perspective. And if you did not give into it, you were then an infidel, and you were going to be killed. But there was groups of people that they weren't even going to try to teach, like Catholics or the Zawadi. I forget the name of the fucking group of people that were on the hill. It'll come to me later. But there was groups of Iraqis that they were devil worshippers. If they believed in this particular religion, it was devil worship. They didn't even stand a chance. They got to kill them immediately. So those guys went in there, killed and raped every single fucking person. Well, Muhammad did the killing and raping, so why can't they? So there's a lot of contradicting things about the religion, like there are in every religion.
Sure.
But it was evil, no matter what the fuck it was. And I didn't like it. And I didn't like the way Obama was dealing with it. So rather than get on fucking Facebook and call all these fucking people names, I, packed my bags. I told about work I'm going to leave and I may not come back. And they were not very happy about it, but they let it go. And I fucking did my own research. I made my own contacts. The documentary crew reached out to me later on down the line and introduced me to a bunch of people. And it turned out being an amazing experience, one of the best experiences of my life. But I wanted to go and do something physically because I didn't like what was going on.
Right.
Again, not take to social fucking media and call people names. Like, I wanted to go do something. So I went and did something. Whether it helped or not, just the idea that we're showing support and fighting against an evil that our fucking world hadn't really experienced since the Nazis, I think.
Right.
Now, the world does experience evil like the Nazis all the time.
Yeah,
but
does.
when you have a group of people coming in trying to take over the world rather than a section of their country, different fucking story. Hell no.
Right.
And be on the better side of history there,
So, obviously you don't want to say what you did over there or what your job was.
We supported the Kurds in their fight against ISIS.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, and then you met Ollie, the dog.
Yeah.
Now you said the Wire was that base that you were obviously it's not all volunteers on a base. It's an army base or
it was an Iraqi Kurdish base. It was their Kurdish special forces.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
It was a clown show. It was fun. They were great guys. But we had the Western volunteers, all of which had combat experience with the exception of like one, because they were pretty strict on who they let in. And then we went and supported their operations in overthrowing ISIS from the surrounding villages.
Awesome.
Right. That was our primary idea. And then so that outside of that wire, that compound itself was all Iraqi, and they gave us our own little section of their base. And then in that little section, we had Ollie, the dog. But we had also other dogs that we let on base and we were like playing with. But that was like our dog that we fed. And, we didn't rely on it to go outside and get scraps and shit. And the Iraqis aren't big fans of dogs. So they kind of let us have our dogs as a, appreciation for what we did.
Yeah, they're not domesticated over there?
No, man, they're working dogs. That's why Ollie was in the street. He was.
What do you mean working dogs?
The dogs that they have over there, for the most part, are working dogs. A couple of them have pets or whatever. But dogs over there are working dogs. The ones that are not are just mutts like you'd see in any third world country. Shit, I've been to Belize and there's fucking dogs running around the beach playing with coconuts and shit. You know what I mean?
Right,
so it's just any third world country. Any place you go, there's going to be wild dogs. So there were wild dogs and then there were working dogs. And working dogs were the ones that were domesticated.
What would the jobs they do, I guess?
So Ollie is half Anatolian Shepherd, half whatever the fuck. The Anatolian Shepherd is... Shit, it was in Iraq, it was in Afghanistan, I imagine it's everywhere else. It's a Turkish start. It's Anatolia, which is a Turkish area. It was a shepherd that guarded flocks. And that's what they use these dogs for. They're big, giant bear dogs, and they guard flocks viciously. They
sheep.
hunt. Yeah, there's sheep, goat, everything.
Okay.
And they raise them outside with the flock, so they make the flock theirs. And any threat that's around, they attack, kill, and eat it. These people actually stop feeding their dogs between 6 and 9 months. These dogs know how to hunt for their own food. So needless to say, I have a hand fucking full with the dog.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And I guess he's pretty protective of you.
Yeah. And he's really, like, if he had been sitting in this room with us this entire time, it would have taken him about 20 minutes for him to make you his, this little room his, and then we let him out there, he makes the building his, and then anybody that comes in that doesn't make sense to him, yeah, he gets vicious, man. He does. But that's why I have to pay really close attention to him. I have to read him. I have to pay a lot of attention to him. It's fucking a lot of work, man. I live alone, dude, and I want it that way. I like not having responsibility, picking up. Like, I had to throw out a fucking Raiders-Niners game ticket yesterday because I didn't have anyone to fucking watch my dog.
Oh.
Yeah, and I can't just leave him there because I'm in a new place.
I see.
So it's a lot of sacrifice, man, but, it's better than him ending up dead and me not knowing where the fuck he was. I actually had a dream about that last night. Like, if I had not known where he was, like, I can't just turn my back on that shit. Like, pretend it never happened,
So how long after coming back were you like, shit, I gotta get Ollie?
No, I had already made the decision before I left.
Really?
So, yeah, I reached out to SPCAI International, SPCAI, and then I reached out to them. They're a nonprofit organization that had a program inside of it called Operation Baghdad Pups. I'm sure you heard me talk about it on that.
I did.
On that fucking video, and they responded immediately back to me and said, we'd love to sponsor you. And they said, can you get this dog to this main city in this area? I was like, absolutely. When? They said tomorrow. I left that day. I had the guys bring him to the city to say hi to us before we were staying in a hotel to get home. And they brought him from there to the quarantine area where someone walked him for a month, fed him for a month, walked him for a month, just made sure that he had all communications from the outside world cut off for a month, quarantine, right?
Now, why would he need to be
Because
quarantined?
we have to, the United States needs to make sure that nothing was happening to this dog. He didn't have contact with anything. So they give him his pills and make him fucking safe. And then they make sure that he doesn't have any contact with anything else that could give him more than he already has.
I see.
Then from there...
Disease-wise.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
And if he's healthy and strong and stable for a month, then from there, they flew him into New York. New York, they gave him his papers. I still have his papers written in Arabic. They transferred it over to English and American. And then from there, they flew him right to SFO, my backyard, man. I went over there and fucking waiting for him. And so they gave me a month to while they quarantined him. So I went home. I had hardwood floors in my house at the time, and I had laminate put down, like vinyl tile and shit. I had a new fence built because my fence was a little unstable. I had the dog, my whole entire fucking house, my whole entire fucking vicinity dog proofed.
Right.
And it finished right before we got back. And we've been road dogs ever since, man.
So it's been about 2 years?
2 years. Shit, I got back. Yeah, just over 2 years. Yeah. It's pretty great, man. It really is.
Yeah, that's how do you know how people can donate to SPCAI?
Yeah, go on to SPCA International, and it's just the website. I think it's spcainternational.com or .org. If you know how to fucking use Google, SPCAI, I think. And even if that doesn't do it for you, Operation Baghdad Pups. And I'll tell you like this: I have firsthand experience with them. And I know how much of their money goes. Like they've had me. I've spoken at the Salesforce shit they have downtown. What's that? That big old.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big. There's two buildings.
No, well they have that time of year where they block off the whole area.
Yeah. At the God damn.
It's sales. Come on, man.
Sales Force? No, it's
something Force.
Dreamforce.
Dreamforce. That's
God.
it. Yeah, they have. Thank you. I spoke with the bitch last year. Yeah. So they had me go on there. They flew me out to me and the dog out to San Diego to speak on an aircraft carrier. We've done all these events to try to get charity in, but I'd say like this, man, I haven't been part of a lot of nonprofits like I have with this one,
right? And
I know firsthand that these people do donate well. They really do. There's no one living lavishly. It's not
right.
Some of these horror stories that you hear.
Right.
They went out to Chernobyl recently. They went to Chernobyl to just go to the area that got devastated. The pictures they took there, man, fuck, it's sick. I mean, it looks like a place that got fucking bombed out.
Right.
And they went there just to euthanize the animals. There's the population does not euthanize. Sorry, to spay and neuter the animals in the area, so that the population of the dog does not grow there. They're wild dogs.
Right.
They went and did the same thing in Brazil before the Olympics when they tore down all those favelas.
Sure.
All those dogs that got washed out came in. They go to these countries and they spay and neuter these animals so their population doesn't grow.
Right.
They do amazing fucking things for animals if you're into animals. I also do volunteer work. Another plug. It's Warrior Canine Connection. It's training animals for vets with disabilities. They're another amazing organization.
What does that do?
They train labs. I think is all we've had so far. They train labs, breed, and raise labs to be service animals for veterans who need services, be it emotional, physical. I mean, these people will help veterans get dressed, open doors. We teach these dogs to open doors and shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So I do a little work for them too. They're great. They're a little smaller. They're doing all right. I mean, I personally couldn't tell you which one I'd prefer you to donate. SPCA International, but they're both amazing organizations. Like I said, if you're into the whole, but SPCA International has stuff where they help dogs and vets, but then they have different organizations within the organization. And then I've become really tight with the girls from there, man. They're close friends of mine now, and
awesome.
Yeah, just a great organization. Thanks for putting in that plug though too. That was
absolutely
that was nice. Great to be able to help in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do vets need? I mean, in any capacity, are there any?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a Wounded Warrior Project. There's a million, dude. I mean, there are a million places to donate. None of them are going to be a waste of your money.
Right.
They really won't be. It's just like I said, if my time, if I could donate my time to
Well, you already have, but
yeah. But now, like, I mean, helping SPCAI and doing all that stuff, they made it a lot of fun for me.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just good. You got to give back a little bit.
Right.
Even if you're being forced to do it, just fucking do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where the responsibility comes in, like we were talking about with the structure. Instead of having my hand behind my back, having my money taken out and half of it or 2/3 of it going to the person who took the money out of my pocket and then 1/3 of it going to people who don't work. I'd rather have it. I would rather
able-bodied people or people that were once able-bodied and are no longer able-bodied now. Like, these are the people that fucking need it.
Right.
You don't be pushing out 15 fucking kids and telling me you need more money. Bullshit.
Yeah. And I think we are doing better. I have a lot of hope, even though it's a lot of crazy times or whatever. I mean, the fact that this dumb little venture, this podcast is I haven't had like really any outrage. I mean, I've had a little bit on Proud Boys episode, but really not any feedback from someone who listened to the Proud Boys episode. It was from people who I told on Facebook that I was going to have a Proud Boy on, or Bay Area Proud Boy, and they were like, "How could you have a platform for blah blah blah, something that I'm not researched in?" That's it. Like, there's not a lot of outrage on this, and the reason I think is because, even though it's Bay Area liberal crazy, most people kind of understand. Right. Most people are like, I can listen.
You're inviting people to come to your pool. This is your fucking pool.
Right.
Now go ahead and come to that pool that you were invited to. Stand by the pool, get wet, and then bitch about being wet, motherfucker. You don't want to be wet. Don't come to this fucking pool.
Right.
And this is what America should be. You should be able to express. You should have this pipe. You should have this vent. You should have this ability to fucking have an outlet where our reality is not fucking, cast out like it is in mainstream media.
Right.
There's this perspective is not appreciated, and that's understood. It's just reality. I get it. I don't agree.
Right.
But you have an outlet right now where people don't have, I guess they have the right to be offended.
Sure.
But don't come here and fucking get offended, man. You got your four walls. You got your fucking money put into it.
Right.
And you know what?
And there's
nothing unreasonable about anything we fucking said. I don't give a fuck what perspective you're coming from. Dude, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up and stop, dude.
Right.
Life is not fucking fair.
Right.
All right? The thing is, if you don't want something, don't do it. If you want something, do it. I understand things are easier for people with money. People are easy for people who have this fucking going for that, going from. But if you don't, make it happen. You know what I mean? Don't bitch about it. That is time fucking wasted.
Right.
Go out there and advocate by all means. But spend your fucking time on yourself. Benefit yourself. Help yourself.
Right.
And then spend your fucking extra time on, helping everybody else, I guess. It's important. Stop bitching. Fuck.
Right.
Everyone has an opinion, dude. It doesn't have to be yours.
Right. Stop making signs and start loving each other.
Yeah.
Start, go give money to SPCAI.
Yeah.
SPCAI.
And come on to me and tell me you're lefty. I don't give a fuck. Tell me you're a Clinton fan. I don't care. Good for you.
Right.
But don't condemn me because I'm on the right side and you're in the Bay Area.
Right.
Fuck off,
Right.
Yeah. Super understanding, right?
Right. Anyway.
Right on,
Ken, I really appreciate it. And again, it's
Wyrsch. Yeah, we'll just keep it American. Wyrsch. Ken Wyrsch, yeah. I don't expect you to be able to get that. No one ever has. Irish.
Yeah, mine's Feliciano. Most people are like Felicio.
Yeah. That's what I read first.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Oh, man.
All right.
That's it.
I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, go to patreon.com/conservatish to help out, support all my bullshit and help pay for all of this time and money that I'm giving you this wonderful art. And then also, if you want to be a part of a community, because there are benefits to the Patreon patrons, but also if you want to be a part of a community, there's now a Discord server. So if you're on Discord, Discord, there's an app for it, and you can live fight past guests, and you can ask questions and throw up stats that totally make me seem stupid. Do whatever you want to do, but you can fight with other people, or I'll have live events on. Ask the good girl questions. Who's one of the past guests? Listen to the good girl episode. Have you listened to it?
No, I said I'm going to get to that one.
Dude, she's a good goddamn girl. I'm telling you right now.
Good
anyway,
girl, huh?
Oh yeah,
like a good girl or a good girl?
She's a good goddamn. No, she's not a good girl.
Yeah,
she's a good girl.
Good girl.
Anyway, so yeah, And also find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, Feliciano. And thank you again very much, Ken.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir. Appreciate it, man.
See you later.